I'm Candace.
And I'm Ripley.
And I'm John.
And this is Comicsplaining.
The show where we don't feed the producer after midnight.
I've never seen that movie before.
Yeah.
Until the first bit we watched.
So we were watching this YouTube video where
Until today, half of it.
Yeah, till someone had a very bad take on Christmas movies. This is question. You go through and you answer all the different stuff and see how other people feel. And they click, no, Die Hard's not a Christmas movie.
It fucking is.
I have problems with that. We all have problems with that, actually.
We very much disagreed with that. And that, thankfully, got us off of the argument about whether tacos are sandwiches.
They're not. They don't have
that
enough
was going nowhere.
rigidity.
We're not going back to this.
But it does mean that hot dogs are tacos.
Yes, this we've established.
Accepted. But they also brought up Gremlins, and I'm like, no, Gremlins, you can argue about Die Hard. I don't think it's a right argument, a correct argument, but whatever, you're going to argue about Die Hard. You're not going to make that argument on Gremlins, but neither of these fools have fucking watched Gremlins.
I'm sorry, you need an 80s movie Sherpa to see all the 80s movies you need to see. People just think that when you're a certain age,
you've just seen them all.
Yeah, but no. If you weren't old enough to be thinking coherently for yourself in the 80s, you probably didn't see 80s movies unless you had someone show them to you.
I just don't watch movies. So, there are a lot of movies I haven't seen.
I mean, John's got a degree of a point, though. I've never seen the Blues Brothers until this Christmas. We were talking about that.
Mm-hmm.
Ah, what an epic movie.
That was a great movie.
I did get exposed to the sequel first. Oh,
I've heard the sequel is not a good movie.
It is not a good movie. But the original is a great movie.
Anyway, I don't know if my volume's going to be off or anything, because I can't hear out of one ear today.
So we switched chairs.
So hi everybody on the which audio channel is that on? Hi everybody on the left audio. It's me.
Hopefully.
Unless I'm on the right audio. But anyway, I'm on the side you're not used to me on. Hi. I missed you.
It would be really funny if you mirrored the audio for this.
No. Never. I want to say hello to my friends over here.
Plus, how will it feel like a conversation if all our voices are coming unified from the same direction, like a many-faced being?
I didn't say mono, I said flipped.
Put me back on the right side. No, I'm saying hi to my new friends.
I see.
Anyway, you guys want to tell me what happened last time on X-Men?
A lot. The train crashed.
The train did crash.
The
train has crased. All hail the new train.
The train has left the building.
All aboard!
The train is now a bus.
Jean?
They went to the moon.
Jean went Dark Phoenix.
She kind of ate a sun.
Well, she kicked all her friends' asses first, and something important happened while that was happening. The cops had just finished scouring the Hellfire Mansion, and the X-Men weren't there.
Yes.
Hey, look, something important. You're going to have to be more specific. Like 20 important things
Many important
happened.
Things.
And so they go up to Shaw and Senator Robert Kelly, who is a presidential candidate.
Oh, we're getting back into Sentinel stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
We're setting a new train up for Sentinels.
Well, can you tell us how we set that train up?
Not really. I was distracted by all the Phoenix stuff.
I can tell you.
Okay.
I mean, I guess it's important. I didn't super register it at the time because there were more other things going on.
There were big things happening, but it was important enough that I want to make sure everybody has noted it.
So the X-Men fled, and Kelly was like, why didn't you catch them? And Shaw was like, well, maybe it would have been easier if I had some Sentinels, and that was the conversation.
That was that conversation, but it was relevant.
Yeah, of course.
Of course.
I didn't think it was not relevant.
Anyway, Jean blasts off.
Yeah, she goes into space.
Eats a star.
She ate a sun.
Nom nom nom.
Which killed the planet.
True.
Ended 4 billion lives.
I think it was more than that. I think it was 5 billion.
I don't know, several billion.
Okay, look,
A lot.
Whose large number of voices suddenly cried out at once?
Are we? Who's going to debate about 1 billion people? A billion doesn't matter.
And we're suddenly silenced.
Yes.
If you...
One death is a statistic. 1 billion one death is a tragedy. 1 billion is a statistic.
One side of the track...
the Shi'ar don't agree.
On one side of the track, there are 4 billion people tied to the track, and the trolley is coming towards them. But if you pull a lever, you can switch the track and kill 5 billion people instead.
Why would you do that?
I don't know.
Well,
Because there's no difference, right? So yeah, she killed the planet, and the Shi'ar were like, that's not cool.
yes, they were very, that's not cool.
Very much that's not cool. Because there was like a Shi'ar warship nearby.
And they were friends with those people.
And they were, and so they attacked the Phoenix, but the Phoenix,
kind of owned them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maximum
Major,
ownage.
Yep. Total ponage.
Absolutely. They got completely
Ultra
destroyed.
kill.
But
Hack sword. Absolute hack sword.
Aimbot! You're using an aimbot! You can't be using an aimbot! You're definitely using an aimbot! You suck!
What are you, 14?
That's what I'm going for.
I know.
I'm going for a 14-year-old
I'm aware.
child.
I fucked your mom!
Fag. I just made you both choke.
The kind of child who knows the exact right slur to call you.
It's true.
Somehow.
So they died, but not before they sent a message to the Empress, which is Lilandra.
Very awkward.
Super awkward. And then, Scott was depressed, but then he was like, Jean's coming back!
Why is she coming back? I thought she was done here.
So she came back to go, talk to her family.
Which is weird, right? That's weird.
It's weird for the Phoenix. It's not weird for Jean.
Yeah.
Correct.
Which, I had a question about the Phoenix, by the way, and I feel like this is probably going to be explained at some point.
Okay.
Decades
Did the
from now.
Phoenix exist before Jean became the Phoenix, or did it come into existence?
It became... It was majorly shaped by joining with Jean, but the Phoenix existed before Jean.
Okay, that's what I thought, but it wasn't clear.
The idea is the Phoenix was created with the spark of the universe.
That makes sense.
So, how far in the future is that established?
God knows.
God only knows.
That's kind of the other half of that question.
So she was talking to her family, and it wasn't going very well. And then the X-Men showed up because Hank had made this cool, fashionable headband that, like, scrambled her telepathy.
And
they made it so she couldn't focus.
Yeah, basically. So they were all fighting her, and it wasn't going well.
Nope, she kicked all their asses
She
again.
kicked all their asses again, except Scott, who was able to talk her down until Professor X showed up and fucked everything up.
Yep.
yeah, hey, Charles, die in fire.
Well,
I
mean, didn't Hank slam the thingy on her head?
well, he did, but that broke.
she broke it.
Yeah.
Um,
But not before
no.
begging for death.
True.
Yes, true. No, so Charles fucked it all up, but then he was able to put the psychic circuit breakers back on her.
Yep.
Yeah.
And reduce her power.
And everything was fine.
Everything was fine, nothing was bad.
And the end. The story ended. Nothing bad happened afterwards.
Let's not just talk about the train.
I don't know.
See, no, that's it. That's the train crash because, she killed billions of people and
everybody lived.
Including all billions of those people.
Oh,
in
no,
that
they
star.
didn't live.
No,
They died.
what about
They're a statistic.
Yeah.
And what about the
Shi'ar, though.
What about them? Nothing happened to the Shi'ar. No, they definitely didn't come for bloody vengeance or anything.
Yeah, because the Shi'ar were mad about the Phoenix.
They were.
No,
They
they
were.
definitely didn't show up. They definitely didn't beam the
They
gang
can't
up.
have been that mad, right?
No.
No.
Not mad enough to beam the gang up.
Well,
and
because
kill
Lilandra
people.
Charles's girlfriend,
Yeah.
so she could just pardon it.
Yes,
Right.
she can just pardon a murderer of billions.
Yeah.
She has the power.
She does.
She does actually have that power.
She's the Empress.
She can
Yeah,
say...
but it would look bad.
It would look
Yeah,
bad.
you know, it's election season. She's got to... she has to make good with the voters. They're kind of riding her hard this year. She has to be tough on crime.
Bring back Crazy Ken. We miss Crazy Ken.
She has to be tough on crime. Or that's how she feels. She feels she has to be tough on crime.
We
the
did,
crime of killing billions of people by eating a son.
We did miss another important thing, though, because there are so many important things. Scott proposed.
Oh,
yeah.
And Jane said yes.
Between
That's not gonna make everything so much more heart-wrenching later.
Between the circuit breakers and the beam up, he proposed and she said yes.
And she was naked.
Yep. Until Dad gave her his bathrobe.
Of course.
And then they got beamed up.
And then beam me up, Scotty.
Yeah.
So the Shi'ar were like, you're on trial now. And then Charles was like, no, we're not. Uno reverse card.
I challenge. We are having a to the death trial.
Duel.
Yeah.
We demand an honorable death battle thing that you can't say no to, or we go free.
Mm-hmm. Isn't it convenient how they always have one of those?
It really is. You'd think their legal system would say, that's out of date and we don't do that anymore. We haven't done that in like 3,000 years.
Maybe they've come to understand that dueling was good after all. And we're just not there yet.
Well, they're like a hyper-advanced alien race, so like what else have they got to do? Other than colonize.
True, they've got luxury space. Well, not communism, but they at least have luxury space monarchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love capitalistic monarchy.
So yeah, they all agreed to do this death match. So it was the X-Men versus the Royal Guard, the Guardsmen, whatever the fuck they're called.
Mm-hmm.
And the battleground was the blue section of the moon.
Yes, that blue section, the part with the oxygen and the ruins.
Yep, It's a hole full of oxygen and ruins.
The mysterious ruins that we don't know anything about.
Yep. Is this the first time we've heard that anyone's heard of
Uatu lives there.
Well, okay,
Who?
but
Uatu.
Who?
Uatu.
the Watcher.
Who?
Uatu.
But when did the blue zone of the moon get introduced?
I don't know. I feel like that was some Inhuman shit, but I don't know.
That would make sense.
I feel like it makes sense, but I don't fucking know, man.
It makes sense that it would be in the Inhuman shit, but we don't.
Anyway, it doesn't matter. We don't know.
So they all went to fight. All of the X-Men individually were like, yeah, we're gonna fight for Jean. And then they were fine. So they all went to fight, and it didn't go very good for the X-Men. They kind of got picked off one by one.
Yeah, got trounced pretty solidly. A couple guardsmen went down, but not many.
Not
this
many.
Quake deathmatch really did not go well for them.
Unbalanced.
Yeah, they need to get good. Unfortunately, their best player...
Did we mention that Angel is here? Because Angel is also here.
Angel's here, and so is Beast. I mentioned him earlier.
We did mention Beast.
But yeah, Angel is here.
Angel's here, and he's a moron, as ever.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he didn't really seem to matter that much.
Himbo dumbass.
Mm-hmm. Well, his power is wings, so
you know,
what fucking use was he going to
Power
be?
is wings, and motherfucker's got a bird brain to match.
And he went into space.
His power is wings, and he is in a place where he cannot fly.
Oh, he tried. He did
Can't
try.
fly very high, at the least.
Oh, he tried.
He did try.
He did
but,
try
you know.
to fly very high.
And
that's how he discovered that he couldn't.
He fucked around and found out that beyond the blue zone, there's no air.
Yeah.
He didn't get yelled at, though, because he was like, I did it, my bad.
I'm an
Yeah.
idiot. Growth. It is growth.
It is.
Yep.
So the X-Men got picked off one by one until there was only Jean and Scott. And then they made their last stand.
And
Bolivia-
everybody cried.
Bolivian
Everybody cried.
army ending.
And Scott got downed, and Jean burst into the Phoenix again.
I mean, no, that's not the Bolivian army ending. Let's be real. If Scott lived...
And so the Phoenix is back, and everything sucks, and the X-Men now have to stop the Phoenix. And Jean was like, please kill me. And they were like, no. And then Scott chased her into the ruins where she gave this, like, really emotional speech and then disintegrated herself.
Yeah, because she was going to have to be on constant alert every day of her life, and she knew eventually she'd fuck up and more people would die.
Mm-hmm.
So she decided that the better option was suicide.
Yeah.
Also, I love that.
But it was her choice.
Yes.
You know, in all this heartbreak, I can't wait to win a Toys R Us shopping spree.
You know? Yeah. This is a great issue to have that on.
Man, a grand prize minimum value of $3,000 in 1980 money, though.
So that's
in Toys R Us.
That's
Holy
more like
shit.
7,000 to 8,000 now, something like. Because I know ballpark 90s money.
Can I just get it in cash?
Ballpark? Hey, it's
Well,
Toys R Us in the 80s.
Can't
That's a
you-
lot of
Can't
stuff.
you return it? Just buy all your shit
That's
and then
true.
take it back to the return line.
That's true. But they might get suspicious, so you'd have to go to, like, different stores.
But also,
You're gonna fence your Toys R Us winnings.
okay, come on.
Launder
look.
them.
Like spending $7,000 at a Toys R Us. It's equivalent $7,000 to $8,000.
You could get so
God.
many video games.
All of
Imagine
them.
the shit you would have gotten as a kid with a $8,000 toy shopping spree.
God, stupid bullshit. Video games.
You clear
Lots
them
of video
out.
I'd
games.
have every video game.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, the train has crashed. We're going to be starting off our new season crawling out of the wreckage of it with X-Men 138 from July of 1980. Written by Chris Claremont, penciled by John Byrne, inked by Terry Austin, colored by Glynis Wein, and lettered by Tom Warzachowski.
Exit Cyclops, as the cover also says.
I hope you came dressed in black because we begin with a funeral.
I
Catholic
didn't for
funeral.
once.
I didn't know Jean was Catholic.
Well, she's religious. I don't know if she's... I guess
It's
she
the
must
collar.
be.
Yeah, the priest, what he's
Well, yeah,
wearing.
but don't some, like, Lutheran priests also look very similar, I believe?
Don't think they wear the collar.
I have no fucking
I was
idea.
under the impression that the collar
It's
was
largely-
a Catholic exclusive.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't do Catholic shit.
Okay, so the year is 1980, and she was born in 56. Okay, we keep those in our
No,
skulls.
those numbers are not going to stick around. Do not fuck with
Jean
it.
Grey
Do
was
not
born
bother.
in 1956. We all know this.
Let's see.
Yes, we've all
Along-
seen her headstone.
Along with the priest and the woman who ordered her death, all of Jean Grey's loved ones stand gathered around her grave as she's returned to the earth from whence she came. Bobby, the only of the original X-Men not to have been there, seems to be dealing with his own pain, or maybe that's concern for Scott Summers, just like blankly staring into the middle distance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's fair
He's
that...
wearing sunglasses. You can't tell where he's looking.
Yeah, but he is looking into the middle
Well,
distance.
yeah.
You can, come on. Bobby could tell. Bobby could tell if he's staring off in the middle distance.
He's submerged in a roiling sea full of memories of his lost fiancée.
Hey, why is Hank not blue?
He's wearing a mask. He's wearing that mask.
Oh,
he
his
had.
fucking
He
Oh.
literally,
human hand
he literally
gloves.
is wearing his human hand mask.
I
His human
hate
head mask.
that. Terrible. Hank, please destroy that.
Oh, Hank, no one would have minded
He-
if you dressed it
He has
appropriately.
a secret identity, though.
Really?
I don't know why Hank McCoy suddenly only corresponds with me via telephone and letter.
Via AI chatbot. Via his VTuber model.
You just gotta go into Meta and talk to him.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
Talk to his virtual avatar.
Oh,
He
God.
would, you know what? He would be in fucking the metaverse, though.
He's one of those tech bros. Oh, no.
Absolutely.
Oh, no. Hank, no.
Well, for us, this is gonna mean a clip show. I'm mostly gonna be skimming over it, recapping in my own way, because this is mostly recap. But it's a good jumping on point for anyone who hasn't been caught up on all the old stuff up to this point.
Also, it's a retelling without Stan.
Yeah, we're skimming. Very quick, though. So we're going to give a quick summary of the history of the X-Men, I guess.
From Scott's viewpoint.
From Scott's viewpoint.
I see those massive hands. I thought we were free. Those massive hands, those massive feet. I thought we were free of those meaty human hands.
Meaty feet. Those meaty feet.
Meaty feeties.
Once upon a time, there was a boy named Scott Summers. He was a runaway, cursed with powers he didn't understand and couldn't control. Through a series of misadventures and child abuse, he ended up with Charles Xavier.
Scott, you survived a plane crash, and you think of yourself as a runaway?
And he ends up with Charles Xavier, the first of his X-Men, a team of mutants meant to do good in the world, and hopefully show them that mutants aren't something to be scared of. Then came Bobby Drake, Hank McCoy, and Warren Worthington. And then she stepped out of that taxi. Jean Grey. And almost immediately, almost everyone was instantly infatuated.
A girl! Big deal!
It was literally no time before Magneto attacked the Cape Citadel missile base, and Xavier's X-Men first saw battle. As their skills grew, so did Scott's love for Jean, even if he wasn't going to allow himself to indulge in that, due to his traumatic past in the orphanage and crippling self-esteem. And then Magneto came back, and they fought he and his Brotherhood of Evil Mutants again, and again, and again. After fighting Magneto on the beaches, the landing grounds, the fields, the streets, and the hills...
and a volcano!
The X-Men finally returned, and Charles named Scott deputy leader before heading off on vacation. Oh, go ahead.
To space? The space vacation?
No.
This is the
this
bike
is the
vacation.
Lucifer. We're way back further than that. This is the Lucifer vacation.
Oh, look, he goes on a lot of ill-fated vacations, okay?
He does. At first, the job was almost a welcome respite for Scott from trying to cope with having feelings. Particularly feelings for Jean Grey, but you know. That only lasted about as long as it took for Jean to find herself in actual trouble in the Savage Land, and he realized he couldn't lose her. Upon winning, there's more adventures. We entirely skim over Lucifer's story, which is a real shame because we all loved Lucifer.
We all love Lucifer, don't we, folks?
Who?
But also because we also miss out on that whole issue that was just the Avengers fighting the X-Men because Charles wouldn't tell them what was happening.
Uh-huh.
That sounds like Charles.
But I digress. Magneto got beamed to space by the Stranger. The Juggernaut, Charles's evil stepbrother and an absolute unit, came crashing back into his life.
Who you would think was a mutant, but no, that was actually like a demonic
He's
deal.
a warlock.
Yeah, he's a warlock.
You decided.
You'd think he's a mutant, but no, he's a warlock, and what a weird family.
Well, considering all of Charles's adopted children.
Oh boy.
Well, he's back seeking revenge on Chucko, but they beat him. All this high-profile Magneto fighting got Boulevard Trask's hackles raised, though, so he started making Sentinels, along with Master Mold, the template and commander of the Sentinels, but because it took about 3 seconds for this anthropologist's Skillshare course on coding to fly out of control.
I'm so confused how this man managed to make a apparently sentient machine that keeps coming back.
But Trask sacrificed himself to stop his creations from raging out of control, and then we never heard from the Sentinels again.
Never ever.
Did I say keeps coming back? I lied.
Or Master Mode, for that matter.
Yes,
No.
definitely never came back.
Or
Never.
the Trasks, for that matter.
No.
What, Trasks, as in plural? There's more than one?
Larry and Bolivar. The Trask family.
I've never met them.
Nope. Don't know.
Okay. This made for a busy life where it was hard to find the time to actually do anything about his feelings for Jean, and he definitely wasn't actively focusing on his work because of that, as they fought through a succession of dickheads. We didn't cover Lucifer the first time around, but now we do, along with Calvin Rankin the Mimic, may he rest in yada yada yada.
In the Avengers Infinity War.
Yeah, may he
yes.
rest in the fucking nether. Count Nefaria and his posse of flunkies the first time. The menace of the Cobalt Man, aka Jean's classmate's crazy brother made evil by radiation.
Hey, Scott, your life from your perspective is starting to sound kind of traumatic.
You don't say.
You mean the Iron Man we have at home?
The Iron Man we have at home, correct.
Yes.
We also have Merlin, real actual Merlin.
Real Merlin.
The Super Adaptoid, Banshee in fact, or whatever the fucking number was. That guy who became a Mayan god, and the fucking Lucas made the cut!
God.
I only remember some of these.
Finally, he got the nerve to confess his feelings to Jean. As they strolled through Central Park, Scott opened up about parts of his past he'd never discussed before. He doesn't have all that much of a past before the X-Men. After a head injury in his youth, most of his childhood is lost, except behind hazy nightmares that seem to remember all too well falling through flames and smoke.
Oh my god, he doesn't remember the first plane crash.
That's traumatic.
We've been over this. That was in the Savage Land he doesn't remember.
Trauma fucks with your memory,
I
man.
forgot! I'm so just used to Scott's origin as a plane crash that I kind of...
We haven't gotten there yet. I mean, we've gotten hints of it. We know, kind of. We know.
We know. See, that's the problem. This is too
He don't
much.
know.
We know. He doesn't. And I kind of guess I just didn't ever process the fact that he doesn't actually know that yet.
Nope, he just knows he had a head injury. Maybe Alex said it. I don't fucking know.
The fact that oh god. How have he and not Alex never hashed this one out?
We don't talk about our feelings or anything that upsets us.
Right, so we were boys in the 80s.
Yeah, that's fair. That's depressingly fair.
And then finally, well, maybe Alex had some fucking trauma from that too.
Yeah, I'm sure he did. He was younger.
And then finally the connection is made. Scott confessing his love and Jean returning those feelings wholeheartedly. Around them, though, that busy life marched ever forward. Charles was kidnapped by Factor 13, who are back now. They decided to fight Spider-Man due to misunderstanding everything.
Which seems to be par for the course for Spider-Man.
Pretty much.
Mole Man.
Yep, they got caught in the middle of a subterranean turf war. The Juggernaut came back, but Doctor Strange helped.
Which seems much more appropriate considering that man is a warlock.
Right?
He should be dealing with magical shit, not
Warlocks
mutant
versus
shit.
wizards.
Yes!
Sidorak v. Sidorak fight.
Come on, use Eldritch Blast. Hey, you're a warlock, use Eldritch Blast. That's all they do.
Charles then decided they'd fully graduated and could now express their individuality with their own costumes that Jean made, so it's really just Jean's individuality.
Yeah.
Grotesque, another prince of another underground race, attacked the X-Men.
We have a lot of those.
Yeah. And Charles Xavier died definitely for real.
I would love to know the politics of the underground, because, you
right?
know...
Maybe they live at different levels, so most of these people don't have problems.
Because I gotta wonder how the North Korean trolls factor into all of this.
Although Charles Xavier died definitely for real, it was very sad, but they continued on. Famous Framus, the professor's FBI toady, made the X-Men split up, and they did for about 5 seconds until Mesmero started hypnotizing all the mutants, one of whom turned out to be Polaris, the daughter of Magneto. Wait, what does it say? Not the daughter. Eric, you are not the father!
She still has green hair, but...
Don't know where it came from. She's just a mutant.
Yep.
Not Magneto's daughter. It was a lie because actually that Magneto was a robot. Whoops. Scott then told everyone he had a brother, Alex.
Mm-hmm.
They went to his graduation where he was attacked by our favorite African-American professor.
God. You know, in the same way that
Elon
Marvel...
Musk.
No, in the same way that Marvel had a, God, what was it? Asian writer?
They rescued Lex, but he unrescued himself, running off into the desert in a panic and quickly being nabbed by the Sentinels. Wait, they were gone forever.
No!
No, not the Sentinels.
No way.
It can't be.
Turns out Bolivar Trask had a son with a funky 70s amulet, and looking for revenge, he rebuilt the Sentinels completely up to the standard his father set. Scott then convinced them that to defeat mutation, they needed to take it to the source and fight the sun, so they did, and then we never saw the Sentinels again.
We need to fight the source of skin cancer.
Being kidnapped twice takes a toll on you, and so the X-Men had to rush Alex to Dr. Carl Lycos to fix him up. Except it turned out that as a child, Lycos was attacked by dinosaurs, and so now he's an energy vampire. And he turns into a dino man if he snacks on mutants. Like Alex! Which he does!
Yay!
Yay! He was attacked by exactly 5 pterodactyls.
Pterodons, thank you.
Oh, pterodons, my bad.
That's right. He then tries to attack his girlfriend's dad, and then realized he was being a dick, so instead he flew to Antarctica and threw himself into a fucking Mulan in front of his devastated girlfriend, who is not at all turned off by the attempted dad murder.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe she wanted him dead. Have you ever considered that your girlfriend actually wants you to kill her father?
He's a controlling
he seems
dick.
kind of, controlling, exactly.
Like, she'd be happy. She'd be happier. And, what are the X-Men gonna do?
You should just let her go. You should both go to the Savage Land and just, hang out there and have a life.
And she can have a dead father and
the
love you forever.
authorities will never fucking catch her.
Never.
Yeah, no cops are going to the Savage Land.
The only cop in the Savage Land is fucking Kazar.
And this isn't Kazar crime.
Officer Kazar.
Officer Kazar on patrol. Why did I salute? Cops don't salute.
They do sometimes.
Do they?
I think so.
I guess when you see them marching or something, they'll do it.
Yeah, when they're LARPing as soldiers, which has gotten more
out of control
and more uncomfortable lately.
Oh, they went down to the Savage Land to get Carl's body back, only to run into fucking Magneto again because you can't go 6 feet without running into the man. They kicked his ass and came back up north to try to convince Sunfire not to do a terrorism because his uncle is a creep.
Uh-huh.
Well, after that, it was finally time to come home, only it turns out Charles wasn't actually dead. He was just too busy with work, so he faked his death and hung out in the basement.
Normal things.
Very normal.
He's now ready to reveal why he did that, and it's because a race of evil alien warriors are coming to enslave all of the Earthlings. Through a convoluted series of mutants, Charles Xavier connects to the entire planet and beams the goodness of the human race at the Xenox, who found the vibes absolutely rancid and left.
Uh-huh.
I think we might... Did we skip that one?
No, we read it.
We read it.
I remember that.
I don't remember that.
You were there for it.
I don't remember it at all.
After that, Hank departed the team to turn himself into a hairy little guy, and now he's an Avenger. But the rest of the X-Men stayed together until Xavier sensed a powerful new mutant and sent his X-Men out to investigate.
Hey, do you think that Hank and Logan ever have, arguments over having the same hairdo?
No, I think they give each other styling tips.
You don't think Logan would be like, hey, bub, I had that hairstyle first?
No, is it manly to be weird about hairstyles? No.
No.
You would, if you saw another man with a bold-ass mustache, you would be complimenting his mustache.
As
True.
is tradition.
True. You'd be like, here's a nice mustache wax.
So,
exactly.
So something I gotta know. If you shaved Hank, would he still be blue?
I think so. I think it's like dogs, some dogs have blue or black gray skin.
Yeah.
I think underneath he's probably blue.
Yeah.
Just be a little blue guy.
Because I'm just wondering how deep the blue goes.
I think he's blue all the way
baby.
through.
So he's like hats.
So Xavier sensed a powerful new mutant and sent his X-Men out to investigate the small island he'd pinpointed them to.
Of course he's like cats. He gets drawn as a fucking lion sometimes.
Yeah.
Sorry.
When only Scott came back, Charles created another team, and then that group was sent out to rescue the first group. Only this time it actually worked out alright, even though Scott was just supposed to be a lure to bring more X-Men.
Mm.
You're definitely not just using Scott, Professor. No.
And so they rescued the original X-Men. It turned out the island was the mutant, so the X-Men yeeted it into space, and that solved the problem.
And we'll never hear from it again.
Yep. Krakoa will not be seen in Avengers Infinity War. With everyone safe and sound, the old team mostly disbanded, but Scott stayed with the X-Men, training up the new team. Count Nefaria then decided he wanted to take over the NORAD headquarters at Mount Cheyenne, so he did.
I guess he wanted the power of nuclear weapons?
And
Who wouldn't?
Right. You can hold the whole world hostage.
I mean, God, NORAD, just... these storylines...
And he did.
These storylines are absurd, and then you have Count Nefaria saying, I want NORAD. And that's a lot less absurd.
And you have to put that in the same context as the Locust.
And then the new X-Men stopped him from doing that, but in the process, one of the newbies, Thunderbird, died in sort of a suicide. It was sad.
God, you can tell approximately when the new writer comes in. Like, you can really tell, because it goes from...
You could feel when Roy kicked in, too.
You can, but you can tell when Chris starts having a real effect on it, because NORAD is just too serious compared to...
I love the Locust.
The Locust, or bad vibes sent to aliens.
The bad vibes aliens.
They were actually good vibes sent to aliens.
Well, hey, they're not good
the aliens
for them.
had bad vibes, though.
And the aliens didn't like our good vibes, so they were bad vibes to them.
That's true, fair enough.
The professor headed off on vacation again, because that always works out really well for the X-Men.
My thinking shouldn't be so Earth-centric.
Yes, how very Terran of you.
And while he was gone, the X-Men headed down into town to enjoy Christmas in New York City. Particularly Jean and Scott, who had an elegant date night planned.
Didn't go bad at all.
Nothing bad happened at their date in New York.
Not true. Their date was crashed by the Sentinels. What? Back again.
But they flew into the sun.
No, this time they're back under the purview of government scientist Stephen Lang.
No relationship to Scott Lang.
No. They then fought him and won. What distant, like third cousin.
They don't send letters.
They see each other at, like, Thanksgiving.
Really,
they don't talk.
Really big weddings.
Yeah.
They fought him and won, but there was a flare from a solar radiation storm, and so on the way back, their shuttlecraft was bombarded with radiation. While Scott and the others were shoved back into a radiation-safe crew compartment, Jean braved the storm to try and get her friends safely down to Earth. When they touched down in Jamaica Bay, they thought Jane gone, but after a few moments, she surfaced from the water, different, proclaiming herself as the Phoenix, fire and life incarnate.
And everything was fine. This was normal, actually.
While she recovered, the other X-Men, sans Scott, headed off to Ireland, where Banshee's evil cousin Black Tom and his life partner, the Juggernaut...
What that warlock is doing here, I think
he's here with his life partner.
That's fair.
Anyway, they were trying to steal Sean's leprechaun castle from him, but it didn't work, and they got yoked into the sea.
Oh, yeah, sometimes
leprechauns. No, we haven't been to Sean's castle again. That's right.
Sometimes your life partner wants his brother's castle and
his cousin's castle.
His cousin's castle. I'm sorry, and you help him because he's your life partner.
If it makes him happy, it makes you happy.
And since you're both kind of evil,
it works out.
Yeah.
And it involves punching the X-Men.
Yes!
Which is something you love anyway.
For the last while, the professor has also slowly been going mad. But that finally came to a head when it turned out that he was mentally connecting with a space princess in desperate need of his help to stop her crazy brother from destroying the galaxy with the Unicron crystal. So they did, but it was almost destroyed anyway until the Phoenix stabilized the neutron galaxy within, saving the universe.
So, how many years was that since you met, Jean?
A while.
Yes, that's a lot of trauma.
They finally got back to what passes for normalcy.
Superheroes have a lot of trauma? What are you talking about? They're totally fine and mentally healthy.
Look, it's not every day I get to see someone processing all of it.
Several years of trauma all at once.
All the trauma that has happened since becoming a superhero.
Wolverine then got attacked by the nation of Canada while he was on a picnic. Then Mesmero managed to hypnotize everyone in the house
by posing at sexy on a table,
using them to run his criminal circus that is not the circus of crime, but is definitely a circus of crime.
He may have gotten their blessing for
he
branding
doesn't
purposes.
have the rights. He doesn't have the name rights.
No?
No.
They sent him a cease and desist?
No, he's a franchise owner.
Ah, yeah, that's what I was thinking. He must have been a franchisee.
Magneto then got them out of that situation, but not because he wanted to rescue them, but because he wanted to strap them all into high chairs and feed them baby food until they puked.
Yeah.
Also,
very normal of you.
Also, he hates circus franchises.
I mean,
he's very against elephant mistreatment, so it was just one of his many stands. But it's another one of his pet causes.
he has so many of those. And yes, many of them involve killing Nazis. And good for him.
But after a mishap in the fight, the X-Men got split off from Hank and Jean, each thinking the other's dead.
And that state of affairs lasted far too long.
A while.
Scott felt numb for a good long while after that, at least as far as Jean's loss was concerned, because he just couldn't handle it.
Completely came to terms with losing Hank. That was fine, though.
Yeah. Hank, yeah, you can live without Hank. But
he fucking left, jackass.
Yeah, but I mean, he could live without Hank.
Right.
If Hank died, Hank died.
He would carry on. It would be sad, but he would carry on.
If Hank dies, Hank dies. If Jean dies,
he dies.
If Jean dies, Scott does too.
People die when they are killed.
Very true. Sometimes. They ended up in the Savage Land again. And this time beat a rock god that was created when some broad called Zaladane dripped some oil on a grad student.
Uh-huh.
Normal things.
Normal.
They beat Moses Magnum's son in Japan.
I wish we'd stayed in Japan longer, but I know I'm going to regret that. I know it. I know we're going to regret that.
Take that out of context.
Then they fought the Canadian government again, this time on their turf, because they wanted Wolverine back.
Because the Canadian government is so normal. Her Majesty's government in Quebec.
The Queen of Canada's government is
Quebec.
very normal.
Yeah.
Calgary. They were in Calgary.
No, but the capital.
Oh, Ottawa.
Of Canada.
Ottawa.
Is Ottawa?
Yeah. It's Ottawa.
Okay.
Look it up, motherfucker!
What city was I thinking of?
I don't want to disagree with you.
But look, Her Royal Majesty's government in, I guess, Ottawa is just normal. The most normal. This was blessed by the Queen.
So excessively normal.
This was, the Project X was done at her permission because everything has to be.
Once the X-Men finally got home, the mansion was empty, so Scott sulked for a while before finally connecting the phone lines.
And even then, it took him a while to actually make a phone call.
Yeah, he still didn't actually stop to call Moira, though. Instead, everyone got kidnapped by Arcade, which was very upsetting for Spider-Man, even though he didn't actually do anything about it other than wreck a phone booth.
He exploded a phone booth.
I don't know. I feel like Arcade belongs in the Spider-Man.
He didn't know that half a world away, Mastermind was getting his hooks into Jean.
Well, how could he?
Mastermind bit off a bit more than he could chew,
Jean's
though,
dead.
as Jean's powers began to run rampant. And the X-Men never had time to address the situation. Even after discovering she was actually still alive, there was Proteus to keep them busy, and then shortly after getting home, the X-Men got those notices from Cerebro about the new mutants.
Yeah, I'm sorry, but the world's worst mom was more important than whatever was going on with Jean.
And it all just devolved from there. Mastermind finally played his hand, and Jean Grey became the Black Queen of the Hellfire Club. She did snap the brainwashing, but not until it was too late, and Jean boiled over, becoming the Dark Phoenix, a hungry destroyer of life. Even after all of that, the X-Men still managed to save her, to pull her back to just Jean Grey, but the Shi'ar would not allow the Phoenix to live after she destroyed an entire star system.
That's fair. That's fair.
And so the X-Men were cast into battle to try and save their friend, not knowing the realization Jean had come to. Lilandra was right. The Phoenix must be destroyed.
Good job, Lilandra. You definitely killed it forever. It'll never come back.
And so when no one else could, Jean destroyed herself. With the burial over, there's just the people left. John Grey lays his hands on Scott's shoulders, asking his daughter's fiancé how he's holding up. But he, of course, claims to be fine, asking after the Greys, who are just doing the best they can. Lilandra has a gift for them, though, to hopefully make their grief a little less painful. A Shi'ar bauble that preserves not only a 3D image of their daughter, but radiates her essence. That's one family dealt with, so Scott turns to his, telling the professor that he's leaving, unsure of whether he'll ever return. At the very least, he needs some time to pull his head together. Meanwhile, at Professor Xavier's School for Gifted Youngsters, a young girl climbs out of a taxi, here for her first day at school.
Does
Kitty
her
Pryde.
shirt say bitch?
I don't know what else it could say.
Which?
Which Stitch? Huge pre-Lilo and Stitch fan. How would you rate that?
It's kind of hard to rate a Flash show.
Right.
3. It's a good and succinct recap, but it's just a recap.
I get why it exists.
Yes.
Because the X-Men really will never be the same again.
Right, that's
And
why it's a 3. Solid 3.
They also blew up after all of this shit happened, so it's a
Right.
bunch of stuff people haven't fucking read.
Yeah.
I'm also going to stay at a 3 because, again, it is just a clip show, but I really do want to note how much I like how they bracketed it with the taxi, with a girl getting out of a taxi.
Oh, true.
So as Scott leaves and that story ends, Kitty Pryde, another young girl climbing out of a taxi.
Trying to duplicate the magic.
A little warning ahead of time for some stereotypical depictions of Romani folk. I've removed the racial slurs, which I'm going to come right out and say I don't think they were included intentionally. It's a sign of the times. But if you're watching a video version of the podcast, they may still be visible. I'm not sure, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So just keep that in mind. It's a sign of the times, man.
That is not the worst thing you're going to run into in this story.
Anyway.
I promise you, I realize that might sound like I'm exaggerating. No!
I mean, did we not... Have you forgotten the racist fucking North Koreans?
The fucking highlighter yellow North Koreans.
No, I meant this specific issue.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to be continuing on with the X-Men Annual from August of 1980. Written by Chris Claremont, penciled by John Romita Jr.
Ooh.
Inked by Bob McLeod, colored by Glynis Wein, and lettered by Tom Orzechowski. John Boy Jr. is a new name for us. He's, you might not have guessed this, but he is son to John Romita Sr.
What?
He's a Nepo baby. Oh, yeah.
He's got the skills, though, to back it up.
He does.
So we're actually, well, you know, that's the thing about quote-unquote Nepo babies. They usually do have some skill.
You look at the Barrymore family, it's acting chops held down because you learn shit.
Yeah.
Like, when you look at,
lawyer families.
Also,
the
look,
fucking
The
Bernsteins.
I mean, I was just gonna
Local
go...
legends.
I was gonna go with Nick Cage. He's a Coppola.
Yeah, he is.
And for what, better or worse, he has skills that most people don't.
Well, he's another Guinness World Record holder, but
Yeah.
he's got the last guy beat because he has 2.
Oh, boy.
Guinness ain't worth a whole lot, though. I'll say that.
It's still a cool party brag, as stated before. Most contributors for a comic book and fastest production of a comic book. Both awards are for the same comic. They got a whole bunch of people together to try and beat this record to just, okay, let's pump out a comic as fast as we can with like 1 million pencilers and inkers and shit.
Oh my God.
This is before totalitarian states started getting into the Guinness craze. Yeah, Guinness is kind of an ugly thing now.
Yeah.
I think it's not that it was pure back then, but it seems like it was better back then.
It's still a cool party brag. And they put the proceeds to charity, which is
Good
cool.
for them. Legitimately, good for them.
On the back of the rough go the X-Men have had, they could really use a chance to smile. And the reason they're opting for is Nightcrawler's 21st birthday.
Oh shit!
Ah, baby boy.
He can finally drink in the States!
Yeah, we only have one X-Men illegally tossing back brewskis now.
I was about to say.
Probably. Just back from his apparently contrived errands, the acrobat is caught off guard by all of his friends gathered in the kitchen.
God, let's think. Colossus has probably been drinking since he was Kitty's age, if not younger, because
It's a whole thing.
It's a whole thing, and let's be real. Nightcrawler has also probably been drinking since he was Kitty's age, because it's a different but very similar whole thing.
He's German, but he was also in the circus.
Kitty is also here, sipping something. So, who knows?
Straight
knows.
liquor.
Just straight shots of vodka.
Yeah, look, look what
in a martini glass.
Look, see, Colossus is having one.
Logan's eating a white turkey leg.
Yeah, something's going on there.
Someone fucked up the coloring.
I mean, that yellow shirt they got him.
Glynis on her fucking yellow.
She loves her yellow.
Like, he's wearing a yellow shirt.
Kitty's also here. She still doesn't really feel much like part of the group just yet.
I'm shocked.
But she is here, watching as Kurt opens an interesting variety of gifts.
I was about to say.
Dumbbells, binoculars, a cowboy hat, and a framed picture of Wolverine.
Guys,
normal.
What did you get him things you want so you could take them from him?
I like that Wolverine's not even smiling.
Yeah.
Like,
oh, he is.
I guess he kind of is. I thought he was.
Look, that's as close as he gets to a smile.
Because he's got the furrowed brow.
That's
how he looks.
That's true.
That's his face.
That's his happy face.
Caveman face.
He can't smile with his eyes. He's incapable.
Searching the pile of boxes, Kurt finds one unopened box, though no one's quite sure who it's from. Though Kurt posits it might be from Scott. He opens the strange black box, pulling out a crystalline figure of himself. The group admires it for a moment that only lasts for as long as it takes for the thing to explode in a cloud of smoke right in front of Kurt's face. The birthday boy face plants, unresponsive, and his friends rush him off to the med lab where Professor and Aurora begin tending to the injured mutant's wounds.
Happy birthday!
Logan immediately lays on top of him.
Oh, he's listening for his heart.
I understand that.
Never mind that he could have just felt for a pulse.
Normal.
I mean, he also did give Kurt a framed picture of himself, so there are
We're
vibes.
assuming that he gave that.
You know?
Someone else didn't just give him a
That is an assumption.
Either way, there's vibes.
Okay.
See, I thought the cowboy hat was from Logan.
Look, I've seen that cover in the future where it looks like Nightcrawler is naked and Wolverine is glaring at his dick.
Yep.
But that's the question. Who gives Nightcrawler the prank Wolverine headshot?
It is either a prank or it is not a prank.
And if it's not a prank, what are they saying?
The polycule is on its horse shit again, is what they're saying.
Yeah, exactly.
My money, Aurora did it.
Maybe Aurora got the cowboy hat. We don't know. As the Professor and Aurora begin tending to Kurt's wounds, they kick the rest of the X-Men out into the mansion to wait. And for a long time, they do wait.
Oh my god, he goes through a lot of beers.
Each of them coping with the stress in their own way. Logan drinks, Piotr paces, and Kitty apparently stress eats.
Relatable.
Mood.
But the end of the wait isn't welcome news. The best efforts of Charles and Aurora could not save Nightcrawler. So at least they can save some money on tombstone engraving. Predictably, the news isn't taken well.
I'm shocked.
Even Kitty, who didn't know the man that well, buries her face in Piotr's chest, weeping. She's 13 and a half, facing this new chapter in her life, only to be immediately faced with the death of one of her new friends.
Oh god, when do they introduce that? There's what is it? Welcome to the X-Men. Can you survive? Or something like that?
Very soon. How safe is she feeling right now, you know?
Yeah.
Logan just helplessly rages, rapid-fire cycling through... Do you guys need me to stop?
The producer is present.
The producer needs to lay down.
It's fine. We're good.
Okay.
No, leave the producer alone.
She said, do not squash chai.
No.
Not in squash mood. Only squash when in squash mood.
Logan just helplessly rages, rapid-fire cycling through denial and anger in the stages of grief. Charles wheels off to go make the necessary arrangements, and Aurora stares out the window, feeling just as helpless, if less outwardly than Logan. Only recently has she been made the new team leader of the X-Men, and already one of her friends is dead.
Oh, she was made team leader. Congratulations!
She's the obvious choice.
I'm so sorry for your loss.
She's the one with the coolest head.
Mm-hmm.
Kurt's closest friends are too lost in their own heads to hear the ringing of the doorbell, but Perhaps a little less invested in her grief with how little she knew the man, Kitty heads off to answer it, guiltily thinking about how his appearance always gave her the creeps and wishing she had a second chance to get to know him. She opens the door, greeted by Stephen Strange, answering a call from his good buddy Charles Xavier.
We're gonna have a Doctor Strange heavy episode today.
Mm-hmm. X invites his friend in, ushering him off to the med bay to take another look at Wagner. He drops his glamour spell in a sudden flash before striding to Nightcrawler's side, hitting him with the Eye of Agamotto to try and scope out if Kurt fell victim to some sort of magical attack, as they couldn't ferret out any physical reason for his death.
Yeah, I guess we want to know what the cause of death was.
Strange is able to give the team some great news, though. Kurt Wagner isn't dead, he's just been placed in suspended animation after the theft of his soul by some powerful, angry force.
Cool.
Why?
It's better than dead.
That's great.
It is better than dead, but why?
Even as he lays out the revelation for the X-Men, he feels the protection spell he placed around the house breached with, no effort.
Crap baskets.
And then the image of a woman's face, bracketed by a pair of ram's horns, appears in midair. She is Margali of the Winding Road, and she wants to know if Steven stands with the X-Men.
Sandwiched, one might say.
And Strange does. Not so much as wavering, as he demands the sorceress release Nightcrawler, or else.
It looks like she's taking the or else.
Yeah, Margali has no qualms accepting that challenge, summoning forth giant tentacles with which to snag the X-Men and Strange.
Oh, I thought those were snakes for a second, but then I realized they don't have faces.
Oh god,
so they are
tentacles, and they're wet.
They're wet, they're dripping.
Hey,
Seen
Chris.
enough internet to know where this is going.
Hey, Chris, Mr. Claremont,
Normal.
She manages to get Strange, Wolverine, and Colossus, dragging them inexorably towards the black void where just moments ago her image hovered.
Strange Wolverine as opposed to normal Wolverine.
Oh, fuck off and die.
I want to see normal Wolverine now.
The other three break for the door, one of Margali's tentacles in hot pursuit.
Oh no.
They make it, but it's at that moment where one of them snares itself around Storm's waist. As a last valiant effort, she shoves Charles' wheelchair hard enough to make sure he makes it out of the room, and hopefully out of harm's way. But Charles can't accept that. He can't stand to see another one of his children lost like this. Holding onto the door jamb to secure himself, he desperately grabs onto Aurora's hand, holding on for as long as he can until the tentacle finally yanks her free from his grasp and Xavier topples backward once more, the medbay door slamming shut behind him.
And now Kitty's going to be the leader of the X-Men.
Now there was one.
And she's going to form a new X-Men.
A better X-Men.
With Blackjack and Hooker.
No, she's 13. Come on, guys.
She's not indulging in the hookers. They're just there.
Right.
It's strange how suddenly quiet the lab is gone. Kitty presses her ear to the door, straining to hear the sounds of Margali's laugh, but she's fallen silent. Curious, she pokes her head through to check in on the situation. Despite Chuck's frantic demands, lest he lose her too.
I love how out of control of the situation he is right now. To the point where she doesn't really care.
But she quickly reopens the door behind her.
She's a teenager.
She's a baby, yeah.
I know.
She's not going to listen.
Hey, the others did once upon a time.
Once upon a time.
Yeah.
I don't think he's really had a chance to get to know her any.
Or turn her into a child soldier.
Yeah. But she quickly reopens the door behind her to reveal the lab, empty of all of them, including Kurt. Through me the way to the woeful city. Through me the way to eternal pain. Through me the way among the lost people. Justice moved my maker on high. Divine power made me, and supreme wisdom and primal love. Before me nothing was created but eternal things, and I endure eternally. Abandon every hope, ye that enter. These words emblazoned on the massive gates towering above the battered X-Men and Doctor Strange.
Fun!
Slowly, the group begins to stir to life, counting their bumps and bruises. They're quick to notice Nightcrawler alive and breathing on some nearby rocks.
Hey!
But Steven locks onto the inscription on the door, ready with an answer when the X-Men ask where they are, because as you have probably deduced, they are in hell.
No way. Which one?
Christian hell.
Which one?
Dante's hell.
Which
one?
Is
Dante Alighieri.
But are we gonna be running into Loki's would-be boyfriend?
Wait and see. And we are at least at its gates, which swing open before them, beckoning the group forth.
Also, y'all need to start abandoning hope. It says so.
They step through the doors and towards the putrid, murky waters of the river Acheron. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right. Wolverine suggests they just leave, but Steven doesn't know the spell they'd need to do that, so it seems the only way out is through. And as the boatman Karen. I don't know how to pronounce shit, man.
Okay, Sharon.
As the boatman Sharon nears, I'm doing it. As the boatman Sharon nears, they continue forward rather than abandon Kurt to his fate. Disembarking from the boat, they bid Sharon goodbye after having to see all of the pictures of her dogs and continue into hell, approaching what appears to be a casino, but is in fact the gate to hell, or at least another circle, attended by its guardian Minos, garbed up in a tuxedo.
Huh, so I guess this is where the blackjack and hookers are.
Strange questions his appearance, but it seems this is mostly a you see a what makes sense to your brain kind of thing. He quickly sizes the bunch up, pleased to see more than just Kurt here, the more the merrier. He then flirts with both Kurt and Aurora, leaving both X-Men shaken.
Because bisexuals are evil.
True.
You know.
He then declares Kurt a naughty boy and beats him off into hell with a tentacle.
You're a naughty little boy, aren't you?
Oh, boy.
I've seen enough anime to know where this is going.
Who wants to place bets on which sin he ends up in trouble for?
I mean, look at this man's fucking yaoi chin.
What sin do you think Kurt gets
I'm sorry,
on?
His bow tie is attached to his neck instead of his shirt.
It is, and that's not a coloring problem. That is a
penciling problem.
Oh yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna say lust.
What do you think?
Kurt?
I mean, pride.
Interesting. But I'm gonna go with lust too on this one. Storm follows fast behind him, not about to lose her friend again. She does catch him, though it gives her a dizzying view down into the pits of hell. A staggering sight indeed.
It's good that they have their powers here, apparently.
Yeah. She makes to return to Minos' palace when suddenly her own winds are intercepted by a hurricane, tearing the pair along on its winds, along with the bodies of those doomed to the second circle of hell.
She also grabbed him by the tail.
Yeah, ouch.
Why does this keep happening?
Anybody who had their money on lust would be correct.
Of course.
You are going to collect the no prize on that one.
Thank you. I'll put it on the shelf.
Caught in this endless atmospheric holocaust are those souls who subjected reason and intellect to carnal desire. The winds drive all before them, allowing no comfort, no rest.
Oh, come on. Just because Kurt masturbates doesn't mean he deserves to be in the hell for it.
The best these people can hope for is to lessen their torment, and the pain it brings upon them. They will never be free of it.
Kurt has definitely committed worse sins. Like his whole obsession about his appearance.
He was pretty wrathful back in the Hellfire Club.
He was. And I still think the whole stealing Errol Flynn's appearance thing has got to be something.
That's an interesting take, and I do like it.
Ooh, yes, Envy. Ooh. Envy's a good one. If anything, he should be in for Envy.
A cliff looms ahead, ready to smash the two X-Men upon it like the rest of the tumbling souls carried on the wind. But Aurora manages to tear them loose. But given that them being able to just leave would be kind of a problem, there are guardians too to the second level of hell. The winged harpies are fast upon her, while Aurora's still trying to hold on to Kurt, and that's becoming a major problem. She then tries to clear him of view to port away so she can just manage the harpies without trying to also hold on to Kurt.
That would help.
With a gust of wind, she manages to punch through a view back to Minos' place, where Kurt teleports, re-emerging in a gasping heap. Storm was supposed to be right behind him, but she isn't, and Minos smugly laughs to himself as the harpies stab Storm with one of their spears, and she is carried by the winds further down into hell. The demon explains that if they want to find Storm, she'll be in whatever circle of hell suits her. Forever. Unless you go down and get her, winky face.
Wow, this guy just looks so much like, especially earlier Loki.
It kind of does.
Yeah, true.
Well, they do. Though at first Logan threatens the demon over it, and Minos is caught it back like, did you just fucking threaten me? And Wolverine's like, yeah, want to fight about it?
Yeah, you're going to Wrath. Like,
Yeah,
yeah.
true.
Wolvie asks if Strange would help them along on this, and the good doctor agrees. Not the least because he's been getting fishy vibes off this hell.
Oh, so it's a fake hell. I love fake hell.
It doesn't actually feel evil, and it doesn't exactly mesh with his past experiences in hell either.
My guy, there's more than one. You know that.
Something sketch here. And so the X-Men begin their descent into either hell, whichever one it is.
The hell we have at home.
Down from the hurricane and now into the driving rain is the third circle of hell, that for gluttons.
Cerberus.
The guardian of the third circle of hell is a very good boy.
Don't you hurt Cerberus.
And so Cerberus is right on them. He's a dog with a job and he's a very good boy. Still, the X-Men can't just let themselves be attacked by Poochie. Luckily, Wolverine just has to use his dog voice to order the mutt off, and he's sent scrambling. Good boy, Cerberus. They then pass through the fourth circle of hell, that of the greedy, and apparently boring. Which, I mean, honestly checks out. Candace and I were watching house listings for, mansions, and oh my god, if I had to live in one of those hell houses, I might just have to commit a murder to get a splash of fucking color in there.
That sounds right. They are unhinged. The most unhinged places you could imagine living.
You make all this money just to live in a gigantic Apple store sans all the cool shit?
Yes.
Rich people are fucking boring.
Giant sterile cube.
That's what they want.
The fifth circle, the Bog of the Wrathful, is at least worth noting because Wolverine self-identifies that as his likely personal destination.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
no one ever said he didn't know himself.
He's self-aware.
Yeah.
But the group leave it in their rearview mirrors, crossing a barren field of flame toward the city of Dis on the horizon. Apparently past which stands Netherhell. So we've probably we probably got lava on hand.
We hit the Nether, yay!
We gotta send somebody to double back up to the third circle to get some water, because we need to start crafting.
I'm moving to the Nether. Moving to the Nether.
Just don't build a bed down there. Sleep in a bed.
Don't use a bed down there.
Yeah. But then just don't build one so you don't get tempted to sleep in it.
As they make the trek, finally Strange has to know. What did you do to make this broad so mad, Kurt? And he explains that he killed her son, but he had to, and he would do it again.
Cool.
Yes, I killed her. But I'd do it again.
Though as Logan guesses, Kurt is leaving out some details there. They then try to... Maybe this is a kind of deal like, well, I'm in hell, I need to start acting as hard as possible.
Right.
Yes, they deserve to die, but I hope they burn in hell. Wait.
So I hope they're in hell so I can kill them again.
They then try to sort out exactly how they're going to get past this city on their way to the Nether. Logan steps in front of Strange, arms out like, upsies!
Mm-hmm.
You carried me last time, just do it again and we'll fly over it. Suddenly, though, Colossus cries out in alarm because they're under attack.
We're under fucking attack.
Piglins!
At first, it's just one spear, and then a barrage of them, thrown by demons standing atop the city gates. Everyone but Piotr tries to take the fight up to the horde, but they can't get a foothold, and so they return down to the ground to figure out another way to deal with the Discord. I wrote "wait for booze" in my script.
Boo!
While they were fighting, though, I think Piotr might have cooked up his own plan, because he immediately knows what he's going to do. Oh, I skipped it. I was going to ask what you thought he was going to do, but I skipped too far. You see, Piotr...
Well, let me make a guess.
I don't know. He's going to knock.
Piotr found a gate, and I don't know why that wasn't the first thing they did, frankly.
Right, y'all didn't notice that?
Nope.
But it's not as if the gates are wide open, even though according to Strange they should be. And Piotr's like, be patient, comrade. It will be.
While he's burning red.
And he tears open the gates of hell, sending all the demons pissing themselves in fear away as they tear the fuck out of there.
What can I say? Demons are afraid of communism.
This is gonna be on the list of moments of extreme badass.
Yep, we've already got one, and it's already Piotr.
It's always Piotr.
Look, I was expecting Wolverine to be the badass. No, Piotr just is more epic than Wolverine. It's
the communism.
Wolverine is a hard ass.
Yeah. Colossus has just
It's
got
a
the
retcon.
feats of strength.
No, it's a retcon. Like, later, people want to make Wolverine into this absolute badass mega killer.
Loner.
But it's this giant Russian teenager.
Who is able to just destroy everything in his path and do the impossible. Like, literally break open a gate of hell.
Now they stand at the rim of Malabolja, the 8th circle of hell, the home of those who lived lives of fraud. Looking at the horrors before him, Piotr's like, I'm an atheist, what in the fresh fuck is this? And Nightcrawler's like, this is hell, where the shitty people go. There's heaven, too.
It's not great.
Oh yeah, these are... people are always talking about how Kurt has, like, this whole Catholic thing going on.
But Dante's work is fan fiction.
Yeah, Catholic fan fiction.
Well, this is fan fiction of that fan fiction.
It's Catholic fan fiction.
Yeah.
Oh god.
Fan fictionception. Logan then asks the doc for the lowdown on the 8th circle, and Strange obliges, explaining the kinds of people who would end up there. I like that he gives definitions for some of the more obscure terms, too. Panderers, seducers, flatterers, simonists, that's churchmen who use their holy office for personal gain, diviners, fortune tellers, frauds, con artists. He could go on all day, and I guess that's just going to be his answer, giving a list of shitty things people can do.
He covers thieves, and Logan felt Storm didn't belong to be here. Logan... I don't think you know Aurora as well as you think you do.
Well, you see, he says thieves, and Logan immediately lights up, realizing...
Okay, you do know her as well as you think. You just don't know how hell works. Fair.
Long ago, Aurora was a thief in Cairo, so if she was going to be sent anywhere, it would be down with the thieves. Stephen points him towards the 7th Bolgia, which is kind of like a pit, and each of these pits have people that committed different misdeeds.
So they're segregated into their
various crimes, yeah. And so the 7th is full of serpents, biting and snapping at the poor souls trapped there.
Ooh.
Peering over the top, Kurt finally spots Aurora.
Because she's the only one who isn't blue.
Yeah, sure.
And bamps down into the pit to try and rescue her. But when she turns and he sees her face, Kurt Wagner screams. She's been transformed into some sort of monster beyond recognition, which then springs at him to try and tear at Kurt's flesh. Luckily, both of them hang still in midair, scooped up by Doctor Strange's crimson bands of Sidorak. Looking her over, though, Strange determines that this isn't actually Aurora. She's just, like, wearing her clothes and, I guess, body.
Cool.
Okay, not weird. Yet another thing weird done to Aurora.
Piotr seizes the monster, shaking her as he demands to know what's become of Storm. but Wolverine calls him off, walking over with one of the serpents coiled up around her.
He's got a new pet.
Yeah, proclaiming that this is Aurora.
You know, the only thing I'm going to give them credit for is this is not a sexy thing they did to Aurora.
No.
This is just a weird thing they did to Aurora.
I think that's fair, as long as everybody gets weird shit happening to them. Strange then explains that this is what the serpents do. They transform their victims in various ways, one of them apparently being trading places.
Right.
Wow, I didn't know this one watched Wife Swap.
He then suggests that they have the serpent bite the faux Storm, which does the trick, though Storm is extremely shaken up by the experience.
Okay, but you say this, but Trading Places was also a show.
I loved Trading Places, even though it's a really stupid concept, and I would not want to do that.
Yeah.
Well, I don't even know that one, so I went with the one I knew.
Oh, okay, so like there's neighbors, and they swap houses to remodel a room in each other's house.
Right.
Oh, that sounds cursed.
Yeah.
I used to love it, but like growing up, I'm like, what? I don't want that.
I mean,
No.
to be fair, I think Wife Swap sounds more
Wife
gross.
swap is way weirder.
Which is why I think it's more appropriate in this case.
Yeah.
Our wives are commodities that we can trade.
Yes, it's just that simple. We could just swap wives for television.
It takes Aurora quite a while to pull herself together, just kind of huddled up in Steven's cape for a while.
Fair.
I mean, if I had a cape to huddle up in. Reunited, the group now continue their grim descent into the bowels of hell.
So when are they going to find Judas?
They finally reach the bottom layer, which of course, like everything else here, still has more fucking layers.
So Judas and Brutus
Cassius.
and one pope.
It's like an onion.
They pass through the
Full
first
of layers.
level, Caena, for those who betray their family. They pass through the second level, Antenora, home of those who betray their country. And they pass through Ptolemea, the final destination for hosts who betray their guests. All without problem. But on reaching the lowest level of hell, Judeca, home of those who betray their lords and benefactors.
And there's only like 3 people in here according to Dante, if memory serves.
I think 4, maybe. Nightcrawler is suddenly struck by a bolt of black lightning, zapped beneath the ice that makes up the floor of the place.
Okay, Nightcrawler belongs in the same place Judas and Brutus belongs.
Let's play a fun game. Name a character and then name which level of hell they'd go on. Loki would be on this one. As you were going through it, I was counting in my head how many layers Loki would go on, and then you got to this one, I'm like, oh yeah, the bottom one, yeah.
But come on. Now, see, Loki actually makes sense, but Kurt,
yeah.
Okay, you...
Next to Judas, you know.
Next to...
On par with Judas.
Kurt Wagner.
Also, I never quite got the Judas thing because look, speaking as a Jew, wasn't that the doesn't Jesus need to die? If he needs to die, how is betrayal a sin?
Because it's still betraying a motherfucker.
But
despite being raised Christian, I don't know that much about the Bible.
Someone has to betray him for him to die. So is betrayal
I mean, Jesus
a sin?
also knew it was going to happen, though.
Yes.
Right.
Apparently.
One of you will betray me.
But also, he also had an opportunity to run, and he didn't, because he knew he had to die. So...
Right, but it's still fucked to betray him. That doesn't make it less fucked.
No, it's still fucked up for Judas to do that.
I don't know. If it's necessary for...
John,
it's still fucked up.
John.
I'm sorry.
Listen. Listen to me. Listen to what I'm going to say. If you know that I'm going to punch you in the face, does it still hurt?
If I need you to punch me in the face...
What?
To make the thing if it's required for you to punch me in the face,
argument over all
is your punch actually bad?
Anyway, we're gonna stop arguing philosophical matters, I guess.
No, we're not arguing
religious philosophy.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but this took us to a Dante's version of hell. It invites discussion.
I know.
That's kind of the point of Dante's hell.
Anyway, they need to get him out before he either suffocates or freezes, because you can die in hell, I guess.
Oh no, you're gonna free Brutus.
You can die if you die in hell, you die for real.
Wait, that doesn't make...
It makes perfect sense.
Also, there's a dead pope in here because Dante really didn't like that pope.
No. And so the X-Men and Strange do their best, but they can't make a dent. Well, most of them try. But you know who hasn't tried? MVP of the X-Men segment of this episode, Colossus.
They did not spec this dungeon for the kind of damage he is able... Like, what? Did they not?
They didn't prepare for a tank.
They didn't prepare for blunt damage.
Let's see.
They made everything breakable by everything he's got.
And while Colossus, with one mighty blow, batters the ice around Nightcrawler away, allowing his friends to lift him out of the ice to the slightly warmer above the ice.
So this is the issue where Colossus broke hell.
Yeah.
And then Satan roars out, demanding to know who is responsible for this happy horse shit.
I know for the record that you're not Satan.
Demanding that he's the only one allowed to destroy Kurt, but with a wave of his hand, Doctor Strange reveals that Satan isn't actually Satan, it's Margali of the Winding Road again!
Shocker!
She wants to know why they're here.
Maybe she wasn't really paying attention?
In a flash of light, another figure appears alongside them. A young sorceress named Jimaine.
Because so she didn't actually do the thing.
And she, Margali's daughter, did this to somehow stop Margali from killing someone she loves.
Okay.
Margali then grounds her daughter by turning her into an ice statue.
Cool.
Wow, that's
very Odin-like move of you.
We have a new nominee for Mother of the Year.
Yeah.
It's Margali.
Hey, Odin.
Margali of the Winding Road.
Odin, I found the perfect woman for you.
She's giant. He'd love that.
She's giant and a terrible mother. You'll love her.
Strange then calls dibs on the fight, and the two sorcerers enter into a battle. You know why this is why he came. He wanted to have a sorcerer fight.
Of course.
Well, yeah, that makes sense. It's the only thing that wakes him up in the morning.
It's true.
It's a hell of a fight, but it's going nowhere, and Kurt finally just pleads for the fighting to stop. For a moment, the spells stop flying, and Margali offers Kurt the option to stay and take his punishment, while letting his friends go free. The punishment, by the way, is death.
Cool.
An eye for an eye and a life for a life. But Colossus loudly protests that Kurt is innocent and he wouldn't purposely murder someone. But somehow Margali doesn't find that a very persuasive argument.
Well, it's not like they know exactly what Kurt did.
Then, Steven suggests a solution. They can find out for sure the truth of the matter.
Hang on. In this panel, she has, like, a really bad bubble boob problem.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, boy, girl.
Girl is bad. Is bad, man.
Come on, it's time to move up to the next size, baby.
Yeah.
It's time.
Get yourself sized, please.
I mean...
Tailoring, honey.
She's magical. Why would she need to be sized?
Maybe this is a deliberate choice.
For some goddamn reason. Sorry.
Steven suggests a solution. They can find out for sure what the truth is. Margali lights up on realizing that Strange has the Eye of Agamotto, using her magic to summon it forth from the Doctor's cape and casting its magic down upon Kurt, revealing the past. Once upon a time, Margali Sardos, apparently a Romani witch queen, we can just string words together, they don't have to mean anything.
Yikes.
Boy, cringe.
Well, anyway, Margali stumbled on to a newborn Kurt Wagner, laying next to his dying mother. It's fine.
We're not going to talk about
We're not going to talk about it. Sardos then took in the infant, raising him alongside her own two children, Jimaine and Stefan. Kurt loved his older brother, practically worshipping the ground the older boy walked on. So when Stefan made a blood pact with Kurt that should he ever take an innocent life, Kurt must kill him, he took it pretty seriously.
If he ever turns evil.
And then one day, outside the German village of Winseldorf, that day came to pass. Stefan killed, and Kurt did his best to stop him from killing again. And even though he did his best to stop his brother without it coming to that, at the end of the fight, only Kurt walked away. On his way to confess to Margali what happened, though, If the name Winseldorf was ringing any bells, that would be because that was the village where Kurt was rescued by Charles from that angry mob.
Ooh, boy.
Oh, that's why there was an angry mob.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you, Chris, for explaining the angry mob.
Understanding now, in a flash, the entire group, including Margali and Jermaine, reappear inside the school's med lab. Margali then kisses her son's forehead, apologizing for her hatred and promising to catch up later. And then Margali is gone as suddenly as she arrived. Ready for shit to get real weird?
Yeah.
Get?
Fuck, I was supposed to cue up dueling banjos. Jermaine reveals that all along she's been Kurt's flight attendant girlfriend. Which is a wild fucking reveal. And Kurt could not be more psyched.
What?
You see why I was going to cue up dueling banjos?
Bro, that's your sister.
What? What? Well, I mean...
When someone mentions Kitty, Wolverine turns his head, noticing the kid just kind of hanging out in Chuck's shadow. And he invites her over. She's an X-Man after all, isn't she? Peter then gets in a zinger at Wolverine's expense that really isn't worth repeating, and Kurt continues to hug his sister girlfriend.
Maybe he's not excited that he was dating his sister so much as that he's been reunited with his sister.
Yeah, maybe.
No. Chris Claremont made it very clear what is happening here.
Maybe that's what happened. Maybe.
Hey,
wait and see.
Chris is
We'll wait and see. We'll find out.
Okay.
This is just gonna get even cringier, huh?
How would you rate that? It was going real well until that ending,
Till
huh?
the end. The end really took it out of me.
I thought you would like the issue as a whole, but I knew that ending was always gonna be a hard land. I couldn't remember this issue for some fucking reason.
I wonder why.
Well, the thing I did remember was actually the last 3 pages or so.
I wonder why.
That's because that overshadows the rest of it. I'm gonna give it a 4. Very solid comic. It's weird how the last 3 pages were, like, blanked out. Very strange.
I have... The fun fact is Chris Claremont is still occasionally a working writer.
Yeah.
He is doing a new Wolverine thing?
Sure.
Like, now?
Yeah.
That won't come out until, I think, next year?
How's this relevant?
We could ask him.
We couldn't.
We couldn't.
We could try.
You have his phone number?
No, but it's not like we can't
Anyway,
try.
how do you rate that?
The Dante's Hell thing was very random.
Not that random, because like I said, Kurt has, like, this whole Catholic thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Margali knows that he's Catholic, so she made him his own personal hell.
Sure, we'll go with 4.
I'm gonna go with 3.5. That ending. Woof!
What ending? It ended when they reappeared at the school.
Oh, yeah, sure. Okay, 4. Anyway, that's it for the X-Men half of the show. Like and subscribe if you would like to see more, please. We put these out every other week. Would appreciate that. Comment down below your own thoughts on if we should have included a warning on that, dueling banjos segment.
Yeah.
Like, I can come up with a world where that actually makes a whole bunch of sense, actually, but I don't know where they go with this.
Anyway, we're on Coffee if you want those few bucks. Biggest thing you can do, tell your friends, tell your enemies, tell your dentist, make an appointment. He needs to see you. Your teeth are bad, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, on to Thor.
While I'm getting ready, can you guys tell me what happened last time?
Okay, so we were on Ego, and Thor and Hercules went and penetrated Ego's brain.
And killed it.
No, they penetrated Ego's brain and then got taken on a flashback of how Ego came to be Ego.
Well, Thor did.
Yeah.
Mostly Thor.
Yeah, mostly Thor.
Entirely Thor.
Entirely Thor. So
No, 30% Herc.
Ego and everybody on their planet was going to be locked away because there was going to be
Right,
a nova that was
right.
going to hit the planet.
But then they forgot it happened
They
early.
forgot to lock the door.
It happened early. They didn't leave the door closed.
And everybody died except Ego, who turned into a planet.
Because
yeah.
that's how novas work.
And his name was Egg Rolls.
His name was Egg Rolls. That's true. His name was Egg Rolls.
Now it's Ego.
And we have to shame him for all eternity because his name was a food.
That wasn't his fault. He didn't choose to be named Egg Rolls.
I mean, maybe he did. You don't know.
Imagine choosing that name.
Trans King Egg Rolls.
Does that make Ego a trans king?
Yes.
Yes, it does.
He has so much oodles and buckets of trans boy swag.
Our problematic trans king. Ego.
So that happened, and then by the time that was done, Galactus had gotten back from his ship with a giant rocket that he used to fly Ego off for the ends of time forever.
He shoved a giant rocket up Ego's ass.
Yep. And now he's flying through space, yelling the whole time. Ah!
Yeah.
And then they went back to Earth, and now the Destroyer is the Herald of Galactus.
Yep.
Oh yeah, he got a less mouthy herald.
Yeah, Firelord quit his job.
I did miss that. Firelord did quit his job. He also helped penetrate Ego's brain.
He did.
He was there.
But then he
Technically.
quit his job, and then the Destroyer becomes the new Herald, which seems totally fine and cool. It's not like having, a moral compass is valuable for a herald in any kind of way. I'm sure this won't be a problem.
Well, I mean, come on. Look, the job position is to do whatever Galactus says. And the problem Galactus keeps on having is people he puts in the position keep on not doing what he says.
But Galactus is a bad guy, so we don't want people who do what he says to be in his employment.
No. They're just helping out a bro. They gave him exactly what he wanted.
Yeah, they're not helping out a bro. They're helping out their boss.
Yeah.
No. What? Thor works for Galactus?
What?
No.
Oh, okay.
That's what I meant. By giving... Thor literally gave the Destroyer to Galactus.
Thor and Hercules did.
I'm sure Odin doesn't have any opinions on this.
Odin thought it was funny.
Oh, wait. Did he?
Yeah, he was laughing.
Okay, rescinded.
Odin thinks it's funny, and
Cool
Thor...
prank, son.
Yeah, you're gonna love what happens next.
Yeah, this is gonna work out really great.
Anyway, that's what happened.
That is basically what happened. It wasn't very much.
No, it's only 2 issues.
2 issues, and one of them was mostly Ego's backstory.
Yep.
But now it's time for season 3, and we're gonna kick it off. I mean, not technically, because we did X-Men first, but we're gonna kick it off with Avengers vs. Defenders, which is an event.
That sounds ominous.
So we're gonna begin with Avengers number 115 from June of 1973, written by Steve Englehart, pencils by Bobby Brown.
That Bobby Brown, ooh.
Inks by Mike Esposito. We can't prove that it's not.
My prerogative.
Colors by Stan Goldberg, letters by Gene Izzo, and the cover by John Romita Sr.
Hey!
Romita Sr.
We got the
Senor.
Romitas in this
John
one.
Romita Sr.
We have
Senor.
both Romitas in this episode. That is, I think, the first time we've had both Romitas in
the same episode, yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it'd have to be because I introduced John Romita Jr. in this episode.
I think this makes it the first time we've got a parent-child
A dynasty.
I don't know. I think we might have had some where we had both
I think we had spouses.
Gene and Artie Simek.
In the same episode?
I think so.
Okay, cool.
Father-daughter team.
That's awesome.
The Avengers are packed into the Quinjet on their way to England for reasons that will be explained later, when suddenly they're boarded by a guy from the British division of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Which, go home, Avengers! But, who do we have? We have,
I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
I didn't know that was a thing, but also this guy's wearing a spacesuit and it's never explained.
Well, I think this is from back in the days when S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't its own thing.
This was back in the days before Britain had oxygen.
You know, one, my thing could be true, your thing could be true. One, you know, they're equally as valid.
Well, since we got that out of the way, we all know the Avengers are just co-workers, and the company has a high turnover rate. So allow me to go over who's here.
Please.
Yes.
The Avengers present are Thor, Iron Man, Captain America, the Black Panther, the Scarlet Witch, the Vision, Mantis, and Swordsman.
Okay, that's Mantis. I thought it might have been Cersei.
That's Swordsman, yeah.
The last of these is the reason why the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent is here, as he tells them that Her Majesty's Secret Service has commanded them to turn back for home because Swordsman was deported and isn't welcome in the country.
Go home!
Oh, okay.
You have not passed immigration checks.
Hold on.
You are too fucking French.
So the problem is, Swordsman is not invited by Her Majesty.
Yeah.
Because that's how it's all phrased. Her Majesty is inviting you in.
Yeah.
It's not likely to be revoked either.
So the Queen of England has refused.
Has personally refused.
At least as a matter of law, Her Majesty the Queen has personally refused his entry.
That looks like the mother of all wedgies.
Oh, yeah. Swordsman protests, saying that he's a good boy now for realsies. Shockingly, that doesn't work. So Wanda, Thor, and T'Challa vouch for him, saying that they will take responsibility for his actions while in the country.
Well, I mean, come on. Of all the people, T'Challa ought to be able to have enough diplomatic
Right.
Yeah,
sway.
T'Challa should have some pull.
Exactly.
Can't he make Swordsman, I don't know, give him some diplomatic immunity or something?
I mean, if he wanted to. The fact that he doesn't says something.
Ooh, yeah, that's why you're not the most memorable member of the team, huh?
Cap isn't so sure this is a smart idea, as he remembers when Swordy was a bad guy and isn't entirely convinced of his rehabilitation.
He does actually think of him as Swordy, like literally.
He does.
So why are you letting him on the team?
So I guess
So
Steve
keep an eye on him.
Well, I guess we can say that Steve supports the prison industrial complex.
Well,
He doesn't believe in rehabilitation.
I'm not shocked.
The S.H.I.E.L.D. agent, however, is satisfied. He promises to speak with his superiors and obtain temporary amnesty, though he recommends they keep their trip short before climbing back up into his jet and taking off.
Okay, so see, maybe T'Challa did actually have some sway, though, because I would have complained about that, but now that you brought up that point, maybe his word goes for something.
Because, he's actually a temporal ruler of a state, and the rest of these guys are just... Well, I mean, they have a god, but the only god England believes in is the other one.
The other
one.
It's just the two.
Yes. It's just the two.
Now free of that distraction, the Avengers resume their flight path straight for Garrett Castle, the home of the Black Knight.
I love those very non-British cliffs.
The only Britain-based Avenger.
Yeah.
I love those, they feel very Arizona.
See, I really like those towers on this castle.
Towers?
They're a bit much.
I mean, towers are a thing on a castle.
Well, yeah, but those are ridiculous.
Those are a bit much.
But the cliffs are even more ridiculous because that's not a normal color for Britain.
Apparently, they sent out a call to all the contractors when they fought Magneto a few issues ago, and Dane is the only one who never responded. Concerned that something happened to him, they made their way here to check out the situation.
Wait.
They're so concerned, in fact, that they all sprint for the front gates and run face first into a force field in a gag that feels like it was cribbed directly from Scooby-Doo.
So hold on. They're here because someone didn't pick up the phone?
Yeah.
So how come they don't go rushing into the Fantastic Four's
Because the
place
Fantastic Four aren't Avengers.
So if they ever join the Avengers...
It's company policy. When we call, you have to answer.
And if you don't, we will break into your home.
Yes.
You gotta make sure you're alright.
The producer is behind the set.
Okay, that's fine. That causes less problems than when she's on the set, frankly.
Thor steps forth, declaring that no barrier can withstand the might of Mjolnir, as he throws the mallet and it immediately tonks off the invisible wall.
And then it did.
And then Swordsman thinks he can beat that.
Swordsman then whips out his sword and shoots the force field with some beams, but the beam ricochets toward Cap instead. Steve seems
that son of a bitch was bad news!
Steve does seem to imply that this was done on purpose.
God.
But Vision immediately brushes this off and makes his own attempt to phase through the barrier.
Fucking sour grape Steve over here.
Seriously. This doesn't work either, so with all other options exhausted, it's time to turn to mystical solutions.
Go under?
Wanda hits the force field with some beams of her own, and while it does seem to affect the barrier somehow, it doesn't quite take it down. Mantis then sits on the ground to do some Asian mysticism bullshit.
Oh, Lord. I don't know enough about Mantis to know what her deal is at this point.
Her entire deal is Asian mysticism.
Oh, Christ.
It's literally the whole thing.
Oh,
She's a martial arts champ.
Of course.
And she's psychic, and she does, like, shit, garbage. I mean, just look at the way she's sitting.
Yeah.
But as she does this, she is observed by a man peeking out from under the surface of the lawn.
Weird.
Another one of the subterranean cultures.
We really need to start mapping out the subterranean cultures.
By attuning to the frequencies of the Earth or what the fuck ever, she's able to see a vision of Doctor Strange creating the force field. She has no way to determine why, however, which leaves T'Challa to wonder if this action was friendly or not. More pertinently, Thor wonders if they can even do anything about it. Their musings are cut short as from under the grass comes the troglodytes.
Anywhere else, this would be racist. But this is England, so
It's
this is just
England,
funny.
Yeah, so for anyone who's...
I know we're hiding under sod.
I know we're YouTube exclusive, but, like, people might just be listening to this and
I
not
do that at
attention.
work all the time, that kind of shit.
You really need to see these Neanderthal-ass Englishmen.
They're kind of caveman-looking dudes with
I like this guy with a chain.
Ripped medieval clothes and weapons.
Medieval-ish.
Ish, approximately.
Who are popping out from under what is definitely sod.
Yeah. Being that these guys are just guys, you might be surprised to find that they immediately take out both Wanda and T'Challa. How? It doesn't matter.
Wow, the Avengers, the world's greatest heroes,
Yeah.
are beaten up by some guys.
Mantis is the next to get got, and though the rest are doing well, it all ends when they get hit with a big cloud of fart gas that knocks them out.
Why does Because
Tony's
he has a
suit.
fucking mouth hole.
Yeah, because he doesn't put fucking glass in it until later. There's literally a specific point where he does that.
Why didn't
he do that before? Why did it never have a mouth?
Because we wanted to draw his teeth in it.
Why?
I don't know, that's just what they did. Ask Jack Kirby, he designed it.
Hey, Jack.
Raise him from the dead.
Oh, don't worry,
Ask
I
him.
will. And ask him about the mouth. And
Alright,
did
you
he also
can go
design,
back now.
Did he also design the nose?
I don't remember. I don't think so. He wasn't on Iron Man
That
that
feels
long.
too late.
Yeah.
Damn, so I'm gonna have to dig someone else up.
If they're dead.
Hey, I mean, they can be.
They might be. The troglodytes then pick up all the unconscious Avengers, tie them up, and bring them to their king. They wake up sometime later and...
these guys, they got some heft.
Yeah.
Thor's like 700 pounds, right?
That's true. They wake up sometime later in a dank cavern before Skull, king of the caves.
Yeet hoppers in shiny clothes.
Skull demands to know why the Avengers have hurt his people by erecting the invisible wall that locks them out of the castle, which they are usually able to sneak into to steal food.
Wow, I love the economy of this place. It involves stealing from the local castle.
Man, the countries in Marvel, some of them are weird. Canada, weirdly aggro. Britain, what the fuck is ever happening here?
This is why Her Majesty's government in Canada is able to get away with the black projects it's doing, because the Queen is dead. Her Majesty's government in London is a bunch of...
Skrulls.
Probably. Probably. And they're playing, I don't know, Monopoly with the different cities. Literally. They're playing a literal game of Monopoly. And you know what happens when you get, like, if you expand the board out to, like, a couple hundred spaces, and...
Do I?
It lasts forever. So it's not like they're paying attention to what happens. Just weirdos from the underground can just pop up and steal from local nobility, who have no support network because they haven't had for decades.
I like this headcanon you've got.
So yeah, that's what's going on. And seeing his guest's confusion, Skull then decides to explain his entire backstory. So, back in medieval times, some overzealous ruler held an iron grip over his people, punishing them harshly for hunting and gathering. So the people fled underground, where they lived in a series of tunnels and were able to access locations all over England. They created more tunnels, such as the one leading into the cellars of Garrett Castle.
Okay, so this literally is another subterranean culture
yes,
map.
Yes, literally is. And after generations of cave living and inbreeding, they became the troglodytes.
Oh, fun! Oh, fun! Yeah, they sure have that traditional British dentistry.
Well, with this all explained, Skull demands once more that the Avengers explain the barrier. Thor begins to explain that they know nothing of this, but the king isn't hearing it, and immediately orders them all thrown into the pit. Luckily, their abilities and physical training allowed them to survive being thrown into said pit.
They didn't allow them to beat up the troglodytes.
No.
Wonder what that's going to do for swordsman's knees.
Hey, where's Thor's hammer?
That's a great question, and I was thinking it the entire time. It never comes up.
So why hasn't he turned into Don?
Yeah, he could turn into Wimpy Donald Blake and just wriggle out of his bonds.
And it'd be very funny.
It doesn't come up. So I guess Steve forgot about that.
Wasted on him.
So now they're in a dark hole with only one torch, and a huge cave bug is coming to get them.
Yum. Wonder what it tastes like.
Vision goes intangible to let his bindings pass through him, while Thor just flexes the ropes off.
Yes, so their bindings were optional.
Okay, this is stupid, Mantis.
And Mantis is able to use her, quote-unquote, perfect muscle control to slip out of the bonds.
Oh?
You know, I would have accepted that she, dislocated her shoulder or something. That would be fine.
Perfect muscle control.
Perfect muscle control. Once again, Asian mysticism bullshit. These three are then able to defend their comrades from the beast, with Thor ripping off its antenna, and Vision shooting it in the eye with beams.
So, thought. They threw them in the pit because the pit has something even worse than them, right?
Yeah.
So, were they just going easy on the troglodytes?
Maybe. Well, they got hit with fart gas.
Yeah, the fart gas. And then they said they would give them more fart gas, so they didn't have any choice.
Exactly.
I guess this thing doesn't have fart gas.
No.
Of course not. They need the fart gas to keep it in check.
The monster turns toward the bound Avengers and snaps Wanda up in its claws. But Mantis is able to save her before karate chopping the bug to death.
Cool.
Okay.
Seeing that their beast has been felled, the troglodytes then douse all the lights in the cave and slink through a passageway to catch their captives unawares. Even the Avengers, who are free now, find themselves useless in the pitch black. Even Vision, who I feel like should have infrared or something, but okay.
Infrared, radar, LiDAR. There's all kinds of stuff you should have.
Literally anything other than, I can't see in the dark. I feel like you should have light-up eyes, frankly.
He's
beams.
The fucking gem on his head is literally solar-powered.
No, he doesn't.
Awesome.
No, he can't see in the dark. No.
So, I always wondered how these epic powered people were balanced. It's bad writing. It's just bad writing.
I do dig that we can make these silhouette's so recognizable, though.
Yeah, it's cool.
Really nicely done.
I mean, for all the lack of good writing, good design.
Mm-hmm.
They did very good work with character design back then.
T'Challa is the only one whose senses aren't addled by the darkness because of his cat training, I guess.
Oh, well, okay. No, I would buy that. He's like cat man now, who he can have cat eyes.
What does Catman do?
Sure.
I'm just getting so many glares from Ripley today.
Earned.
So he gets Thor to pull off his ropes before freeing everyone else, then lines them up in front of the tunnel that the troglodytes are coming through. He tells them that if the Trogos get through, they should fight like hell and not worry about him, because he will already be dead.
Wow, I didn't realize we could have a slur for a group of people who already sound like their own name is not considered appropriate.
Then he climbs into the hole. The troglodytes come upon the Black Panther and are able to see him due to their subterranean lifestyle. Personally, I think it shouldn't be that easy because he is dressed in a black catsuit in total darkness, but whatever.
Also, if it is actually total darkness, it's not like they spent that long in the dark. Evolution doesn't work that way, guys. Also, what are you using to see?
Their eyes.
With what light?
Why aren't they paler than they are?
I don't know.
Why do they have eyes?
I don't know. Why did the bug have eyes? They went out of their way to make that bug look like a cave bug, but they still gave it eyes.
Because they don't understand, like, blind cave fish or whatever.
Thor even pointed out that its eyes were white, like a cave creature, but, like, cave creatures also don't have eyes. So, they assume that the Panther can't see anything, and are thus taken by surprise as T'Challa leaps into action, swiftly pummeling every last one, including King Skull.
Wow.
The King one Avenger could do this when all of them were taken out up above.
Monarch on monarch violence.
Yeah. The King surrenders and asks the Avengers to leave his people in peace, but the Wakandan has other ideas. 3 hours later, all have returned to the surface, where the British government has sent people to care for and rehabilitate the troglodytes.
What?
Making up for the abuse which drove them underground so many centuries ago.
What the fuck? What the actual fuck? We got the British government sending in NHS to save the fucking day. So I guess in like 5 to 10
You love
years,
the British social safety net, don't you?
This is why Thatcher tried to destroy it. She didn't like having troglodytes in her society. She just couldn't stand it. She couldn't stand the thought of seeing troglodytes act like they're human.
Wanda is happy that they didn't have to really hurt the subterranean men, as she empathizes with them and views their misdeeds as the product of mistreatment in an unjust society.
Wanda looks pretty cute.
Vision silently places a comforting hand on her shoulder, and I'm not sure if this is meant to read as her talking about her Romani Jewish heritage, but I'd like to think it is.
Either that or, like, everything. She's still gone through all the Magneto shit. Her mutantdom.
Yeah, true.
Mutanity, I suppose.
A little from category A, a little from category B.
Porque no los dos.
Mm-hmm.
With that whole misadventure over with, the Avengers pile back into the Quinjet and make for home while discussing their findings.
Wait, they didn't...
I don't remember the Quinjet looking this cool.
Skull told them that some people in costumes took the Black Knight away before Doctor Strange erected the barrier around the castle. Nope, that's too far. Which leaves them all wondering who this group is and what their intentions might be. And now it is time for the B story, which is a prologue titled Alliance Most Foul. It's the same creative team, so... We pick up here with Loki, blindly falling headlong over a cliff after that wild Halloween party from Thor 207.
This is right after Halloween!
It's the cliff!
Before they reach the bottom, they are magically yoinked away to another place.
Yoink?
Another dimension, in fact.
Momentum, though.
They stand before Dormammu.
Dormammu?
Ruler of the Dark Dimension.
Oh, wow. what's-his-face is going to be so jealous.
Mephisto?
Mephisto's going to be so jealous that Loki's palling around with
a different demon?
With another devil? Because, hey, I have seen the devil meetings. Dormammu shows he is a devil.
He puts in an appearance.
Yes. So Mephisto's going to be so fucking jealous that his boyfriend is showing up with another, palling around with another devil.
It's like when you get mad at a celebrity because they get a boyfriend. They don't even know you exist.
So yeah, it's exactly like that, actually. So yeah, it's Dormammu, ruler of the Dark Dimension, who has a proposition for the trickster, as we've just discussed. Dormy explains how he had plans to conquer Earth until Doctor Strange defeated him in Strange Tales 126 and 127.
Very inconvenient.
There's going to be a lot of citations in the next couple issues, so get used to that. Doctor Strange forced him to swear never to invade Earth again. However, now he has a new plan.
Why didn't he
Find
just
somebody
cross
else.
his fingers behind his back?
Good question.
Could he not just lie to Doctor Strange?
His new plan involves an artifact called the Evil Eye, which apparently featured in an issue of Fantastic Four. And with it, he will cause his domain to expand across the barrier between dimensions, thus drawing the Earth into the Dark Dimension where it can be conquered.
So, isn't Loki blind at the moment?
Yes.
I love the visual demo.
Loki says that apparently the Evil Eye exploded due to its own power, and Dormammu confirms this, but he knows where the pieces are, and thinks that their magical powers combined can restore it. With Dory,
yes.
Finding Dory.
Finding Dory.
With Dormy unable to physically go to Earth, and Loki being blind, they can combine their powers to influence Earthlings to gather the pieces for them.
This is such a weird plan.
What's more, he intends for those 6 rubes to be the friends and comrades of his mortal enemy,
hey,
the Defenders.
Rube!
Loki agrees to help the demon, eager to have vengeance on Thor by destroying the world that he loves.
I would have figured Dormammu could have,
Isn't that
I don't
also
know.
the earthy aura god of?
Yeah.
I don't know, I would have figured Dormammu might have been able to fix the blindness.
Oh, that comes up. Don't worry about it. So
Alright.
what would you guys rate this one?
Unhinged.
2, 2.5, 2.5.
Yeah, I'm going with 2.5. It's unhinged out of 10.
The fucking truck, and we just left. We didn't ever clear up the fucking thing with the barrier. We just left.
Well, we cleared up that Doctor Strange did it, and they took the Black Knight out of the castle before he did it.
And if Doctor Strange did it, he had a very good reason,
Well,
and we're not going to worry about it.
No, it's not that. They're very suspicious of Doctor Strange. It's just, they were there to check on the Black Knight, and now they know he's not there.
So we can just leave the barrier up.
Yeah.
Even though they could have probably
It
done
just
something.
feels weird that they didn't try to get through the barrier.
Well, they did.
Well, it's weird that they didn't try harder to get through the barrier.
Or more importantly, that they didn't try after they called NHS, and NHS put in a
Send
visit.
the fucking nurses to beat it up?
To send the
No.
government-funded wizards.
No, they...
Wizards.
I mean, hey, Britain has that.
That's a thing.
That's
I
a thing. Oh. Never mind. I'm just gonna put that in there.
Don't worry. The A story is completely irrelevant.
Oh, I'm so disappointed though, because this guy's got like a posse of monkeys.
Oh, that's the Red Ghost.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He has like a posse of monkeys.
That woman's outfit. With
Valkyrie?
Her, yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
Valkyrie.
Valkyrie with her,
Titty
her
cones.
titty cones.
yeah, titty cones.
With her Madonna bra.
Uh-huh. As you do.
Hey, hi, Hulk.
Hulk
So we're just
smash.
gonna roll right onto the B story here.
Whee. Ooh,
And
looking
that-
good.
This is the issue.
Oh,
this
God,
is,
that face.
This
Ooh, looking good.
This is, of course, Defenders number 8.
Yeah, Defenders.
Defenders number 8 from June of 1973. Written by Steve Englehart again. Penciled by Sal Buscema. Inked by Frank McLaughlin. Colored by Pedro Scatezzi. Lettered by Charlotte Jetter. And the cover is by Sal.
Wait, is this how they used to do events? Like A-B stories and a bunch of unhinged, disconnected
No,
things?
well, sometimes, not always.
Sometimes, not always.
So here we see the Defenders, who are working on saving the Black Knight after the Enchantress turned him to stone.
I don't know, she just looks weird.
I think she looks hot.
It's her body posture is just weird.
She's just drawn up on herself a little bit.
Yeah.
There's no citation for that one, so just accept that it happened. The Defenders are a new team, which you can tell by the fact that they don't even have 10 issues yet.
Yeah, which you can tell by the fact that we're on issue 8.
But who are they? Well, there's Doctor Strange, obviously, Namor, Hulk, the Silver Surfer, and Valkyrie. Hawkeye is also here right now, but he's not a member yet. He's just hanging out. More importantly, I know what you're thinking, and yes, this Valkyrie is Brunhilde, otherwise known as the Valkyrie that the one from the movies is based on. I haven't gone out of my way to cover anything with dear Brunhilde because, to be honest, she doesn't generally have a lot to do with Thor.
She's just doing her own thing.
She kind of just does her own thing, usually, but she's at least tangentially related, so I will recap what she's been up to until now.
It does sound weird that they created another Norse character.
Why? If you already got that playground.
Yeah, but they never play together.
Well, not never, just rarely. So I'm gonna recap that, and you guys need to buckle in because it's going to get complicated.
It's the issue where the episode where we recap, the one where we fucking recap,
dun dun
and
dun.
recap, and recap.
So it all started in Defenders number 3, where Doctor Strange attempted to help the Silver Surfer circumvent his exile by transporting them all to another dimension. The Surfer was trapped on Earth by a barrier that Galactus had created, so the reasoning was that this barrier would not exist in other dimensions, and they could travel past it before popping back into the material plane.
Makes sense.
Namor and the Hulk went with them, because they were around, I guess. But when the 4 men popped into this other dimension, they were startled to immediately find a woman trapped in a strange mystical cage. So when I said it all started in Defenders number 3, what I actually meant was, it all started in Hulk number 126.
Oh no.
In this issue, Bruce Banner was captured by a demon cult and forced to turn into the Hulk to defeat a creature in another dimension. Stay here.
Okay.
I'm recapping shit from other comics.
Okay. Alright.
The cult did this by using one of its members, a woman named Barbara Norris, as bait. Doc Strange was also there, held captive by some monsters or something. Bruce hulked out and defeated the monster, while Barbara sacrificed herself to save Doctor Strange by taking his place in the cage. So there you go, that's why there's a random woman in a cage. Steven isn't going to leave her behind this time, though, so he and the Surfer combine their powers to free her. She was pretty fucked up by this experience, understandably, and actually ended up siding with one of the extra-dimensional beasts, who kind of, absorbed her in a weird way. But the Defenders defeated the monster, and Strange pulled her soul out of it and back into her body, though the transfer drove her generically insane.
Of course.
They then returned to Earth, and the Silver Surfer had a temper tantrum because things didn't work out how he wanted. Hulk took possession of Barbara and vowed to protect her from everything, including Doctor Strange, who he perceived as having hurt her.
Okay.
He retreated into the nearby castle, which was, you guessed it, Garrett Castle, the home of the Black Knight. Stephen and Namor pursued him and were drawn into some bullshit involving the Executioner. They got thrown in the dungeon, where they met up with the Black Knight and the Enchantress. I hope you're ready to bring another comic into this clusterfuck, because now we have to talk about Avengers number 83.
Okay.
Where the Enchantress and Executioner were banished to this realm, some other realm, by Odin.
Again.
The Executioner decided to side with the queen of that plane, leaving Amora behind, which is great for him, honestly. You love to see a man getting out of an abusive relationship. Amora did some other shit after that, but it didn't go well, and she wanted her man meat back.
Because of course she did.
Exactly. So she did what she does best, and hooked up with the Black Knight so that she could get at this magic brazier that he has. The two then journeyed to this other realm to fight the trollop who stole Amora's man. Which didn't go well, because they were 2 people against a whole fucking army.
What?
But now that they met up with the Defenders, and the Enchantress used her magic to turn Barbara into the Valkyrie, who was then able to free them. They defeated the Queen, and Amora was able to sway Scourge back to her side. Relapses happen, we can't blame him. But
it's hard to get out of an abusive relationship.
It really
a lot of people go back.
It's true.
That's unfortunate.
Before she left, she turned the Black Knight to stone. They returned to their home dimension once more, where Valkyrie stole Dane's horse and decided to join the Defenders. So yeah, that's what's up with Valkyrie so far.
Possession is 9/10 of the law. Sounds like it's Valkyrie's horse.
But do the defenders know how to board a horse?
I haven't read about her extensively, but I gather that at some point this all gets explained as another case of Odin banishing people to Earth to live as mortals.
I believe that.
Which means that Barbara is to Valkyrie as Donald Blake is to Thor.
Right.
I could be completely wrong about that because, again, I haven't read it, but that's what I've extrapolated from context clues.
I'm willing to believe that.
If that's the case, the fact that Barbara and Donald haven't talked about this is actually...
Well, they've never met.
Ever?
Never.
That's really sad.
This
That they
tangent...
can form a support group.
Yeah, of people who are sometimes other people, and...
Because of Odin.
Yeah.
It doesn't even have to be because of Odin. They can have their own separate mini
No,
support.
specifically because of Odin. It's a larger group than you think.
Then yes, they need to be part of a support group for people who are other people because of Odin.
So, this tangent was longer than what the actual issue is going to be.
Okay. Well, I saw that when we were flipping through the pages.
Yeah. So returning to Defenders number 8 with all that in mind, as I said, they're trying to figure out how to save the Black Knight. Hulk is upset about something that happened in the A story, while Valkyrie feels irrationally attracted to the statue formerly known as Dane Whitman.
That's why she's having, issues.
Which she theorizes is because both of them have been affected by the Enchantress's magic. She's also decided that she never wants to be in love, and doesn't know what she'll do if they do manage to save him.
Kill him.
I mean, it's an option.
Opt not to date.
Yeah.
No,
just not.
Just kill him.
Just because you're attracted to him doesn't mean you have to date him.
You could kill him instead. It's
she
an
could
option.
kill him, that's true. Doctor Strange uses the Orb of Agamotto to find the plane where the Black Knight's soul has been sent and send him a message. This isn't so much a phone call as it is snail mail, with the good doctor's message being recorded and sent across time and space, while Dane's response goes in a similar manner.
I mean, this sounds more like email. With
right.
That seems to be pinging from...
Yeah, but whatever.
Thing to thing.
You know what I meant. Mm-hmm. Stephen assures the disembodied knight that they will do everything they can to save him, and asks if he has learned anything from where he is. Dane replies that he's floating in a black void and hasn't learned anything, but that he has hope, because, in case you didn't know, Dane Whitman is a little bit stupid.
Also, there's stuff here.
I'm willing to believe that.
Yeah. But there's also, stuff here.
Yeah, but he didn't know that, because he's stupid.
He can't see the stuff. Maybe he can't see.
Elsewhere in interdimensional space, Loki and Dormammu are chilling on a rock.
I'm telling you, Mephisto's gonna be so fucking jealous.
They've been sitting here waiting for something, and Loki is getting pretty pissy about it, especially since they are still blind. Dormy assures them that he will restore their vision after their plan comes to fruition. Which is, such a clear manipulation that I'd be shocked if the trickster didn't see through it. At last, however, the wait is over, as the Black Knight's message speeds past them, allowing Dormy to yoink it over to them.
Ooh, man in the middle attack.
The two combine their magical powers to alter the message just slightly before sending it back on its path.
I'm telling you, this is email.
At the end of which, it is received by Doctor Strange. In the voice of Dane Whitman, it informs the collected defenders that the evil eye is the key to freeing him. Slight problem, says the surfer. Reed Richards told me the evil eye destroyed itself. But Hawkeye is willing to accept that Dane, floating in interdimensional space, is privy to some knowledge that they on Earth do not have. And Steven agrees.
Because they think he's smart.
Why would we not? I mean, okay, sure.
I don't know that they know him very well, but Hawkeye is the only one who knows him super well, I think. Okay. And Hawkeye isn't super smart himself.
That is true.
So the defenders vow to assemble the evil eye and save the Black Knight, and also Hawkeye will be there.
And also, so this really
make
is
things real awkward.
What would you guys rate that one?
I was so fucking busy.
Nothing. It was 2. It was nothing. Nothing happened. I rate your summary of Valkyrie like a 3, but the rest of the issue, nothing happened.
I was gonna ask. Thank you.
I'm not sure it warrants a score.
I mean, it was kind of just set up.
Yeah.
2.
Alright, well, let's go on to Avengers number 116. From July of 1973. Written by Steve Englehart. Penciled by Bobby Brown.
Vision, no, don't fall! The volcano!
Inked by Mike Esposito. Colored by Petra Scatezzi. Lettered by John Costanza. Cover by John Romita Sr.
I am reasonably confident Vision can fly.
I'm reasonably confident he can phase through fucking volcano.
So, he should be fine, actually.
Before we get into this issue, I want to give a brief warning for some problematic depictions of indigenous peoples.
Oh, fun!
It's kind of your basic and ignorant white people stuff. Nothing exciting, but worth mentioning.
It's the Avengers versus Defenders to the death.
No, it's Avenger versus Defender.
Oh. Sorry.
Well, there's two Avengers.
That is technically not what it says.
Yeah, but it's just the one
see
Avenger versus the one Defender.
Yeah, Wanda's being useless.
Yeah.
Right, because she's a woman.
Yeah, exactly.
Vision, no!
The Avengers fly through the air, repulsed by an unseen force from the front door of Stephen Strange's townhouse.
Vision, your eyes.
Thor had only touched the handle when they were all violently pushed back, and this, more than anything, has convinced all of them that Doctor Strange has no good intentions. They rallied themselves, and Thor returns to try knocking this time. His banging draws the attention of Wong, who informs them that the Doctor is indisposed and
Wong looks fucking stoned.
I mean, did you see Iron Man's mouth? Look at that frown.
They do that sometimes. They make the fucking mask emote, and it's really strange. So they draw the attention of Wong, who informs them that the Doctor is indisposed and has requested to not be disturbed, before politely closing the door in Thor's face.
It did take him like 30 seconds to process the question, though.
Yeah. But the Odinson is raring to go and won't take such indignity lying down. He swings his hammer, smashing the door to splinters.
By Hogan's mace. Hogan's mace is weaker than your hammer.
Wong tries to stop them.
I don't gotta break out the big guns here.
Wong tries to stop them, but is immediately bodied by Mantis. There's just a moment of silence long enough for the Avengers to glimpse a figure in a nearby door. Then they are all seized by an invisible current and once more hurled out onto the street. They're all pretty worked up at this point, and what's more, their suspicions have been confirmed. The Black Knight is in the building, and what's more, he's been turned to stone. They don't have anything that can counter the spells of the Sorcerer Supreme at the moment, however, so Thor just yells about it, vowing to have vengeance. While in the Dark Dimension, we see Dormammu gloating over the success of his plan. Loki lurks behind him, asking when he will restore their vision. When Dormy brushes them off, the trickster feels everything click into place. They were taken in by promises of defeating Thor and destroying Earth, but they can't deny their growing skepticism. Dormammu likely never intended to actually help them. Returning to the Sanctum Sanctorum, where the defenders stand gathered around the orb of Agamotto. Apparently, they didn't actually know that the Avengers were even here.
How did they miss that? They were right in the next room.
As Strange just repelled them reflexively so he could focus on the task at hand.
So, if this was the pizza guy...
Yeah, he's just in,
fuck off, I'm busy.
Do not disturb mode.
Yeah, don't bother him when he's in do not disturb. You may actually break something.
I get where he's coming from, but I feel like he could have chosen a method for getting rid of guests that was somewhat more gentle than body slamming them into the pavement. Stephen asks the orb to tell it all about the evil eye, and in response it recounts the events from Fantastic Four number 54.
Oh god, not again.
Essentially, some guy named Prester John, who was the last survivor...
Prester... Okay. Prester John is the name given to a faraway Christian monarch by medieval Europe. He is mythical, he doesn't exist, he is probably a misunderstanding of a lot of different combination of things.
If you would let me finish...
And he's the sole survivor of England.
No, he's the sole survivor of Avalon.
England.
So he's the last survivor of mythical Avalon, and he had this magical weapon, which he used on the Human Torch and Wyatt Wingfoot when they accidentally woke him up.
I can't believe Prester John is just a guy in the Marvel Universe.
He's just a guy.
He's just a little guy.
Recognizing the power it had, Torchy stole the eye, intending to use it to free his love, Crystal, from her prison in the Great Refuge, whatever that is.
She's grounded?
Yeah.
That's where the Inhumans live.
Okay.
Oh god, so much is going on! Oh!
I'm doing my best, man.
What he didn't know was that the power in the item was building to a crescendo and was about to explode. So Prester and Wyatt both flew after him, and Wyatt was able to shoot the device out of Johnny's hand just before it blew.
That is amazing.
What is that gun?
Well, it is a gun designed by the Black Panther.
It's a polarizer gun.
Of course.
Designed by the Black Panther.
Of course. And, like any gun designed by the Black Panther, it's going to be perfectly normal.
Ridiculous looking. So he shot the device out of Johnny's hand just before it blew, shattering itself into 6 identical pieces and flying to specific places across the globe, as it had been programmed to do by its Avalonian creator.
No, I'm not even there yet. Seconds later, the device detonated with the force of an atomic bomb.
Yeah.
So
it's fine.
Johnny's
fine.
He can survive the force of an atomic bomb.
He'll just ride it out.
He's fine. He can also become a sun, so I'm not shocked.
Yeah.
The 6 pieces are in Osaka, Japan.
Of course.
Rurutu, French Polynesia. Sucre, Bolivia. Monterrey, Mexico. Los Angeles, and Fort Wayne.
Fort Wayne!
I saved that one for last, specifically.
Oh, God. Why? God, I'm not even What's that, fucking Indiana?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. God! There's nothing in Fort Wayne.
Listeners, Fort Wayne is the most flyover of the flyover parts of Indiana.
Oh, my God. I've driven through Fort Wayne. I saw nothing.
No.
There was nothing there. I drove through it. There was nothing.
That's why you would least suspect this to be the place.
As I said, it's the most flyover of flyover parts in Indiana.
They'll never find it here.
6 pieces. 6 defenders. If they split up, they'll have this evil eye and get Dane fixed up in no time.
Nobody stopped to question that it's called the evil eye?
Yeah.
They're cool with it.
Dane told us it was fine.
Yeah.
We trust Dane.
And, just because this thing could do terrible, terrible things doesn't mean anything.
Hawkeye knows him.
Yeah, Hawkeye knows him. Hawkeye's cool. Valkyrie gives Hawkeye a lift to the south, while Namor and the Surfer go to the farthest locations. They manage to convince Hulk to go to LA, and Strange says that he will stay here to guard the Black Knight until someone comes back. Then he can make a run on Fort Wayne because it's the closest.
So he'll go to Indiana.
Yes, Doctor Strange is going to Indiana.
Doctor Strange is biting the bullet, so no one else has to go to Indiana.
It could be worse. They could have to go to Ohio.
True.
I mean, believe it or not.
I lived in Indiana. It's pretty bad.
It's pretty bad, but am I ever going to miss an opportunity to drag Ohio?
No.
Yeah, but I'm not going to lie. It's worse.
And with that, they're off. Loki, in the meantime, we will all be surprised to hear, is hatching a plot. With their eyes now opened, metaphorically, to how they've been used, they realize that giving Dormammu access to Earth will also allow him access to Asgard.
Wow.
Which he will surely want to conquer as well.
Wow.
And that simply will not do.
That's Loki's job, not Dormammu's job.
That's exactly what he says. But Loki knows they can't stop the demon alone. Yet who can they trust? Only one name springs to mind, though they hate to even think it.
Ooh.
Back on Earth, Cap is mulling over how to deal with the Magic Man when he gets jump-scared by a projection of Loki.
I see Loki calling Thor half-brother.
They fuck this up constantly. They don't understand the relationship. They say half-brother, they say step-brother. They don't know what the fuck they're talking about. They always do this. Okay? They don't have much time, and direct whoever is listening to bring forth Thor, who's literally right there. The Odinson is disinclined to hear what his sibling has to say.
Fair.
But the Vision convinces him that they should listen to Loki because they're blind.
That's not a good reason.
I don't think those two thoughts connect, Viz.
Hey, Viz?
Don't be ableist.
Viz.
He can be just as evil while being blind.
Exactly.
Viz. That just means that Loki is still evil.
Mm-hmm. Now with an audience, Loki speaks. Though it's only a half-truth in the end.
Mm-hmm.
To tell the full story would implicate them in a way that they don't want to deal with.
As I said, evil.
So instead they explain that the Defenders are seeking to restore the Evil Eye to its full power.
Which is true.
Which is true. They point out each member, being sure to make them sound like complete shitheads in the process.
Not hard for some of them. I mean, they
True.
literally... They
They have
had
Namor.
You don't even have to try with Namor.
Exactly. Thor is so upset at the idea that Hawkeye has betrayed them.
Of all people, you, Hawkeye?
That he completely forgets his suspicion of Loki in the first place. They then explain the locations of each piece of the eye before dissipating, leaving the Avengers to plan their defensive.
To Hawkeye.
I'm just trying to imagine Loki explaining Fort Wayne, Indiana.
To Thor?
Yes, explaining what it is, what it means, how it functions, what it means for a city to be there and yet not be there at the same time.
It could be worse. It could actually be there in Big Gary, Indiana.
Now that one's pretty easy to explain, to be perfectly honest. Worst place to be, easier place to explain.
Cap decides that he's going to Japan because he hasn't seen it since the war, which is like a thing to say.
Well,
Sure
he
is
was surfing in the fucking European front.
We're-
I think he did both, actually, so whatever.
So he just went back and forth, ping-ponging around. He didn't exactly serve in the peace, so...
I'd like to see it when it's not being bombed to shit by us.
Yes,
Yeah.
it would be kind of nice to see it when it's not constantly on fire. Now, whose fault was that, Cap? That's not the point.
Wanda and Vision pair off to take out French Polynesia, while Swordsman tries to pair off with his own boo in Bolivia. Yet Mantis refuses, saying that she has a sense that the Black Panther will need her in Indiana.
I can't believe Black Panther's going to Indiana!
He chose that.
He chose that.
Thor will go to California.
I've never been to this Indiana.
Prepare to be disappointed.
Thor will go to California because it's centralized, and he can then travel to any of the other locations, which leaves Iron Man bound for Mexico.
I mean, he can fly pretty fucking quick.
He can.
Yeah.
I don't think that really matters.
Yeah.
But that leaves the land of sunny senoritas for Tony.
Iron Man. Tony's gonna get so busy, he might even lose track of time. Just don't touch...
Look at the ladies.
And so we come to our first showdown.
I like that panel on the bottom, sorry.
It's okay. The Silver Surfer versus the Vision and the Scarlet Witch.
Oh boy.
Well...
Norrin arrived at his destination scant seconds after leaving New York.
Is this supposed to be French Polynesia?
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, no.
Oh.
As I said at the beginning.
I know,
You did,
but...
I completely forgot, and I am very suddenly reminded.
This is not what French Polynesia looks like.
No.
Oh.
Norrin arrived at his destination scant seconds after leaving New York, and though he has now made several circuits of the tiny island, he can't find any sign of the object he's looking for. Finally, he decides to set down and ask the locals, who, of course, immediately try to worship him as a god, because that's all we can ever come up with for native peoples.
And this is not what... This is genuine. Look, I am accustomed to some of the cringe that even Chris brings up. But
yeah.
This is
pretty
this
bad.
is ignorant on an extreme level.
Like, this is the stuff Stan was doing
Maybe I'm
in the
gonna
60s.
give this the most charitable read I can here and say that they're mistaking him for a specific god of theirs, which is what this are you not the volcano god thing? Mm-hmm. So maybe he just really well passes for one of their gods, one of the local gods, with the most charitable reading possible.
I suppose you could say that, but it is also the only thing we ever do with indigenous people.
I know.
Also, every aspect of the depiction of these people,
nothing really fits.
It's
anything. Why does this guy looks like way more like Mayan or something? Yeah. I don't know what the fuck's happening with that.
Also, it's called French Polynesia for a reason.
Yeah.
And I'm not seeing any signs of conquest.
He refutes their claims, but the elder, who has, like, a look to him...
Yeah!
It's the guy I was talking about.
Yeah,
insists that the surfer must be the volcano god. Mm-hmm. This abruptly reminds Norrin that he forgot to check the fucking volcano.
He also forgot to put his nose on. I guess he needs to just contour his nose every fucking day so you can actually see the fucking thing.
Look at how upside down his mouth is.
His mouth is so fucked up.
Oh no.
How did he make that face?
Why did I not think to do that?
So he speeds off in that direction. He flies directly into the mouth of the mountain, the lava not bothering his silvered skin. Meanwhile, Wanda and Vision arrive. Vision expresses some doubts about this whole situation and says that he is going to try to talk things out with the Defender, if he can. The surfer, meanwhile, is clearing away lava with cosmic blasts, because even though it doesn't hurt him, he still can't see through molten rock.
Well, that's understandable, but this is a disaster.
You think? Wanda flies above the bubbling brew, reflecting on her man's decision to remain peaceful for the moment. She finds his decision to be too logical when all the circumstantial evidence points to the Defenders being the bad guys. Hey, Wanda, that's not how logic works. If the evidence was really on your side, Viz would be too.
He's too logical, so he must be wrong!
Exactly. Predictably, all that blasting may have been a bad idea, as the surfer accidentally triggers an eruption.
Great, so now you're gonna kill all those people who are so cool and thought you were a god and, like, wanted to give you a feast and everything.
And this is what you said, and you punished them. You punished them because you are a bad god.
You are a wrathful volcano god.
Bad god, Silver Surfer.
Norrin Rad is a vengeful volcano god.
He is a
for
terrible god.
For no reason.
Yes.
Capricious volcano god, if anything.
The volcano blows its top straight into the air, which somehow explodes Wanda's Quinjet.
I mean...
sends her tumbling towards the earth.
That's actually...
I'll buy that.
So that is the most realistic thing this has done so far.
Less realistic, she's okay.
She's okay.
Yes.
She is falling from the sky, though. Vision swoops down to catch her, landing her unconscious body at the base of the mountain.
Oh.
He looks upward to see the Silver Surfer emerge from the lip of the volcano after having, seemingly, launched a completely unwarranted attack which could easily level a city against a single person.
Oh, so, you just hit his berserk button.
And considering that said attack was made on his beloved, we can see the moment that the Vision snaps.
Norrin Rad,
I actually really like this sequence of panels. His face is amazing here.
Yeah.
You done goofed.
I think we might have found someone who can actually snap Norrin Rad in half.
I don't know, but I'm interested to see the fight.
I'm interested to see him try.
He flies straight upward, slamming the surfer back into the lava.
Hell yeah, fuck him up.
Where the two of them begin duking it out. Norrin is able to knock Viz aside with his board, long enough to escape the melee. But, and I can't believe I'm saying this, the smoke causes him to not see the wall of the crater and he smacks into it.
I think Norrin deserves to die. Just from the stupidity.
Down below, the local tribe witnesses the exploding mountain and finds a conveniently placed sacrifice, moving Wanda into the path of the lava flow to appease the volcano god.
This is a really funny way to say. Why do the sacrifice? Because clearly this god ain't fucking
Because that's
cool.
what Native people do. They worship any old weirdo who drops by and they sacrifice girls to volcanoes. That's what they do.
I just don't understand, like, what's the purpose of this sacrifice? Because, like, if it was before, that made sense. Hey, you're the volcano god, don't be mad, here's a sacrifice. Now the volcano has erupted.
It's to appease the god so that the lava stops.
Because clearly that's...
that doesn't make... Okay.
You're thinking too much about it.
I am thinking too much about it,
This is that dumb.
Yeah.
This is literally
There's
that dumb.
not that much thought put into this. I swear to God. All the blasting up top has somehow unearthed the MacGuffin.
Great!
Yeah, both of the combatants lunge and get their hands on it, but the evil eye is directed by thought, and it immediately picks up on the surface thoughts of these two morons.
Mm-hmm.
It fires off a blast powerful enough to lift them all into the air, flying free from the grasps of both men. They both start to go for it, but Vision spots Wanda about to be overtaken by magma, and swoops low to save her once again, leaving the surfer to claim his prize.
Dang it. I think we're going to have to see Indiana.
Viz watches Norrin leave, knowing that he can't hope to match the speed of the mystical board. Rather, he decides to search the wreckage of the Quinjet for a radio, so that he can tell his fellow Avengers what has transpired, and warn them that the Defenders are out for blood.
Dun dun dun.
Meanwhile, the Surfer decides that he must return post-haste, so that Doctor Strange can warn everyone that the Avengers are also after the evil eye.
Why did they're seeking it...
Guys, you could just talk to each other.
Why are we assuming the Avengers mean ill? Because I understand why the Avengers are assuming the Defenders mean ill.
Because it's the evil eye.
Vision attacked him. From his perspective, Vision just
suppose
attacked him
that's
when he
true.
wasn't even doing anything to him.
I suppose that's true.
You know, because he doesn't care that he set off a volcano.
Well, I mean, that's arguable.
But he said nothing about what his ends are.
Right.
That's the misunderstanding part, but, like, it's pretty stupid. Norrin Rad is so annoying.
Yeah.
I really don't want to have to see Ohio. No, Indiana.
You know.
Ohio, Indiana.
Look, I have been to Fort Wayne, okay? I don't want to see it.
What'd you guys think of this issue?
It had some real...
Fine.
It had some bad stuff in it.
It did.
Welcome to French Polynesia, folks!
But I'm rating on the story.
2.5.
And I'm rating the story a 3.
Okay. Wanda was fucking useless.
Wanda was
Yeah.
fucking
She
useless.
was literally a damsel in distress.
She did more in that B story or whatever it was.
Maybe she should also have gone to Indiana to help Black Panther. He needed the help, you know.
Clearly.
If she had gone to Indiana, maybe, just maybe, this wouldn't have happened. Because then, you know, the Quinjet gets shot out of the sky, and Vision isn't
But you know,
a raging ball of murder.
You know Vision and Wanda are like the annoying couple that have to do fucking everything together.
Yeah, like, Swordsman and Mantis here, he, like, accepted. It's like, okay.
He's like, alright, she can do whatever she wants. Meanwhile, Vision volunteered her for this.
But it doesn't sound like she has any problem with being volunteered.
No, because they're codependent.
If he wants her there, she wants to be there.
Yeah.
Yeah, 3. What did you decide?
Me?
Yeah.
3.
What are these things getting on fucking CMRO? Does CMRO like any of this stuff?
I think it's all pretty mid.
Looks mid to high. Not like high, but like middle high.
Okay.
Yeah, this issue got a 3.67.
Damn.
So, a little higher than we gave it, but not that much.
I don't know.
I don't think it earned that.
We aren't really the target audience for this stuff.
Yeah, we also haven't been following the Avengers, or maybe character beats we're missing out on.
Or the Defenders, for that matter.
True. Yeah.
Like, hell, if I was following Hulk from the beginning, I might give a fuck about this.
Anyway, I think that's it for us this week, right?
Yes.
All right. All that said, we're going to be back at you next time, and we'll continue to see what the fuck happens with this.
Yeah, this clusterfuck.
Why Black Panther needs so much fucking help.
A stupid series of misunderstanding fights.
Are they going to have an epic battle in Indiana?
I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll see.
Indiana. Yeah, Fort Wayne, Indiana. Fort Wayne, India. Fortnite, India.